What up, everyone, and today I'm here to provide commentary on my Platinum any percent PB. Now, I've just always loved watching commentated speedruns, so I figured, you know what? I might as well do it myself, especially since, not a lot of DS speedruns get commentated, except for, like marathon runs, that's a little bit different. So, you know what? Even though this isn't world record or anything, I figured, it has some value. I'm gonna commentate it, so let's get into it. Now, I'm starting the game by setting the time, October 13th, 2065 at 9:02. And I wait a bit, and I wait for life split to get to 0 before starting the game, so I'm on the right second, and that's for RNG manip. To make sure I get on the right seed, you have to start the game on the right date and time. But you also have to start the game on the right frame. So, that takes part of the date. Now we got to take part of the frame, and to get to the right frame, we actually have to go for the intro pretty fast. You have, like, a second of leeway with, like, my mashing skills. So, it's not too bad, but I've had my fair share of fails just, not being able to press A at, the screen because I didn't get through the intro fast enough. It's a little embarrassing, but, get over it. And obviously now we're gonna pick Dawn because when the male's the NPC, he talks less, and, we love that as speedrunners. Name ourselves one character because that just prints less text, but we're actually not gonna name the rival one character. We're just gonna use the lowest preset option, which is Roy at 3 characters. And that's because if you name him, you just don't have enough time, and you don't see him enough times where it's actually faster to name him one character. So, it's actually pretty interesting right there. But now, we're actually gonna wait on the screen before clearing it with A. And that's because, we gotta wait for the frame to start. I actually have flow timer during runs, but this video is just the game audio, so you're not able to hear it, but flow timer is just a metronome that helps you time the inputs. And now here I'm going to check the ID. If the ID is 05295, which it is, I'm on the right seat, I'm ready to do the run. Now we set the text to fast, bouncing off, set mode, L equals A for another mash, pretty standard stuff. And I actually switched the cursor over to bag before I get rid of the menu, and that's because more options are gonna go in the menu later, so it's actually faster to switch the cursor now than it is to do it later and, leave it on options. Now we're just gonna go through the movement. Now, to keep RNG manip alive, I have to do movement exactly, or at the very least, close enough to exact. I can't, take... My step count has to be exact, and I have to cross load lines at the same point. So, for example, if I, oversteps this door and I had to, backtrack, that would kill RNG manip. It would be over. And I have done that a couple times. But, while the intro, is going on, we're just mashing, not really much going on. Well, actually, there's one thing I want to talk about before I start talking about random stuff. And that's these staircases. To avoid bonking on them, I have to stop moving and then turn frame. Because if you just try to go up and then right without doing anything in between, you'll bonk on the staircase. And I did not know how to avoid this for the longest time. It always annoyed me and Diamond 90%, but finally figured it out. So, now we're gonna walk up and do the Rourke cutscene. You have to hit yes, so, gotta watch the mashing there. Can't be too mindless with it, gotta pay a bit of attention to the game. But now I'm gonna, kind of explain some things about Emulator. Emulator is on a separate board, obviously, because, it just runs faster. And it's not, at a set limit where, you could just, put a time penalty on it and have it on the main boards. So, this is technically Emulator World Record. Woo! Clap it up for me. But, no, not really. The Emulator World Record doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't mean much anyway, but, it's kind of cool. Kind of gives me some dopamine. But other than Emulator, oh yeah, Emulator also has to use a different year than DS because it changes the parity. So instead of 2064, which they use for console, I go with 2065 because, I don't know, emulators are weird, I guess. Now here, we're gonna get Chimchar pretty soon. And the interesting about this Chimchar is it actually uses a plus speed nature. So, like the Diamond 80% run, and just like the Diamond 8% run, we're not going to use Chimchar for that one, so sorry to any Chimchar fans. But we can actually get away with plus speed instead of plus attack, because the plus speed helps us way more than plus either special or plus attack would. It's pretty interesting. You don't really see that much in Pokemon speedruns, where you would actually go with plus speed. But yeah, this Chimchar doesn't have perfect IVs, but it has, you know, good enough. It has 31 in attack. Actually, I can check it right now. Or maybe I cannot check it. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna battle the rival here. And we really don't want to see Growl here. We want to see Pound turn 1 or turn 2, and that'll give us like a 5-turn fight at worst. Now, you can manip this fight, or at least get into a cluster, but since I checked the ID, I can't get to the cluster. It's like too far away. We get Growl turn 1, and we get a turn 2, so it's gonna be a pretty miserable fight. But yeah, you can actually check if you get the right Chimchar using the HP. If it's female and the HP's 20, then you know it's good. I have gotten male HP 20 before, but it's actually not as hard to, like, you know, talk to the suitcase in time as you would think. And you can also check the level up, but I don't know if I ever gotten the Chimchar where, like, the level up's wrong. Yeah, we get a Pound there, but it's kinda too little too late. We get an 8-turn fight, which is the worst possible fight. So, you know, kind of unfortunate there. Kinda locks us out of a good tutorial split. You know, what are you gonna do about it? So yeah, you can look at the special defense stat and the speed stat. If it's 9 in special defense, 15 in speed, then you know you got, like, the naive Chimchar. So, you know, Mom's gonna get us, you know, the running shoes. And actually, I might as well explain it now. It's not important as it is later on, but I'm gonna try ending some text boxes with a D-pad input instead of a, you know, A or B. And that actually cancels the turn frame, and that's going to be pretty important once we get to Jubilife with the manip. But let's see if I'm actually able to get it. Yeah, I think I did it there. But yeah, basically, if you end a text box with a directional input, you cancel a turn frame. And basically, a turn frame is whenever your character, you know, doesn't have any momentum, they're not currently moving, and they turn, it takes 15 frames for them before they start moving again. And that's gonna be important for a manipulator. You know, more text here. Gotta make sure you don't bonk on that ledge when you run up against it. I have lost a run to that. And you actually have to mash pretty fast against Barry there, which I actually did not know until after I stopped running this game. I kind of just saw in the Discord randomly. But that does explain how sometimes I would lose runs. Because I do hold the text box there to make sure I don't, like, talk to Barry again, so I must have, like, held it for too long, and that's how I would get an encounter. But yeah, I'm pretty sure RNG doesn't even move in this area, so even if you're, like, running down, you're actually fine. Yeah, I've definitely lost a couple runs to losing manip in this area, but, you know, the movement is easy. I've definitely got better at it as I went along. You know, and then we get to Lucas and more text. So, you know, we're gonna nickname Chimchar a 1-character name. I guess I might as well explain why we picked Chimchar. It just does the early game the best. Especially with the Rourke Renep that was found. Even before that, it was still the best, but now it's like extremely the best. Gardenia just destroys Piplup. Even the kind of Rourke. And Chimchar, you know, it just kind of rolls with it with ease. You know, we're gonna nickname Chimchar. 1 character again. Classic. And I guess I might as well just talk about my experience with the category, and I'll just say, it's a pretty fun category, so, you know, if you want to play it, I definitely would recommend it. Learning the manips at the start did kind of kick my butt, like, they did kind of kick my butt, but, you know, I got through it. Actually, I probably should speed through this a little bit. Just speed up option in this. Alright. You know, we just hold down and B here. And then we're gonna buy some stuff at the mart once we're forced to go there. 4 potions, 2 antidotes. You actually don't buy that much in this route. So, you know, status healing ailments, status healing items, they can become low supply pretty quickly. You know, these 2 antidotes, you buy them early, but they can come in clutch later on. You know, standard Pokemon stuff, they're showing you the tutorial and all that. This text you don't have to mash because it freezes the trainers. It's only like certain text boxes that, you know, don't freeze the NPCs. And yeah, that's why RNG moves, you know, during the... It's when, you know, the game checks if an NPC should spin or not, if they should walk or not. That's why RNG, you know, will go up, even if you're not moving yourself. But yeah, you see that NPC, he went down. That causes the RNG to move. Oh, I probably messed up shopping. I guess I didn't. But, you know, something I use there is the door closing. You can use that to tell when you gain control of your character back. I really wish he had that in, like, a different area, but it's pretty nice there, so I usually don't overrun. But even if you overrun, it actually doesn't matter. But yeah, you know, certain houses, you know, there's no NPCs moving here, so you can actually take this part slow if you need to. There's, like, actually no rush at all. You know, talking to the, you know, our parents one last time before we, you know, finally get on the journey. And, you know, it's just more mashing. And, you know, that's kind of tough about the early game. It's just, like, quite a bit of mashing. That's what makes games stuck in early game pretty annoying. You know, the later the generation goes, the more mashing there is, man. And with L equals A, it's not the worst. I've never had an issue where, like, my fingers hurt too much, but I kind of made sure to, you know, I never, you know, stream at night one day, and then I'll stream in morning the next day. And I never streamed that much to begin with. It was usually, like, 3 times a week, so, you know, gotta keep the hands healthy and all that with Pokemon speedrunning. And now we're actually gonna walk on 2 tiles here. You know, with RNG manip, sometimes the most optimal movement will just not get you no encounter, so you have to take some sacrifices and see what's, like, the, you know, fastest possible movement you can do without getting encounters. Now, this manip was not found by me. Sorry for making it sound like that, but it wasn't. So now, here we go for the Pesci tutorial. Now, the nice thing about battles I didn't know until a while ago for Platinum is you do not need to mash the text boxes. Now, in Diamond, if you mash during the battle, the flickering the Pokemon do when they get damaged, that goes faster if you mash. And for the longest time, I thought that was the same in Platinum. So I would just mash during battles for absolutely no reason. So that definitely helped, you know, keeping the hands healthy when I realized I was, like, you know, doing an extra hour of mashing for no reason. But, you know, there's the tutorial split. I say 4 seconds because I think I messed up shopping in my PB. But this is one of the areas where you have to up your mashing, because NPCs are still moving. And you can actually tell if your mashing's good or not in, I'm pretty sure every Pokemon game in some way, but I know in Gen 5 and then Gen 4, if the arrows don't appear in the text box, that means your mashing's good. Now, we're gonna bog against that tree, but that doesn't matter because it is a window for the mashing. It's not like frame perfect like the intro. It is a window. And that NPC right here is facing to the left, so I know I'm good. Whoops, I don't know what that was. But anyway, here is our first battle. It's Starly. We really don't want to see Growl turn 1, and that's kind of it. It has quick attacks, you know, don't get too cocky, but yeah. It only does 4 damage. It can max roll 6 damage, but, you know, it's not too bad. Now, I'm pretty sure in Diamond, I think this guy is a speed tie, but I've never lost a speed tie to this guy, so it must not be a speed tie in this game, which is really nice. But, you know, we got Growl at the end there, it doesn't matter. Now, taking damage isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the next fight, Bidoof, we would be able to 2-shot it if we had Blaze. And now what Blaze is the starter ability. And I would not blame you if you thought the starter abilities were trash, because the game does a horrible time describing them. Like, in a pinch, what does that mean? But in a pinch, it means 1/3 or under. And that's actually not that bad to set up. So you see a bunch of speedruns, not in this one, especially since you don't use Chimchar for that long. But in this fight, if you had Blaze, you could 2-shot the Bidoof with Ember. But I actually start with Scratch, even though it's the weaker move, and that's because this Bidoof, it also has Growl. So I want to make sure I get my Scratch off before it gets its Growl off. Because Ember PP can get tight with Chimchar. Because we do not get its PP healed until after the first fight in the forest when Cheryl automatically heals your power points. And you do face a lot of Zubats where you're forced to use Ember because your other options are fighting moves. So it can get pretty tight pretty fast. If we needed to, we could stall for HP on this Burmy, but I'm not going to do that. Actually, I've never done that. I don't know why I said that, but someone in there did it. Oh, we got a useless crit. That's funny. Okay, I kind of lied previously. You do have to mash in the battles. You have to mash these text boxes, and you have to mash, you know, like Burmy fainted. But other than that, you're good. And hey, we made it to Jubilife with Manip intact, and that did not happen that often. It would be like 2 times per stream. Like, I was really struggling with keeping Manip. But this is probably the hardest movement of the Manip for me coming up. And it's not gonna look like a lot, but trust me, man. Actually, I don't even know if it was a lot. I feel like it's something that was like harder in practice than it was in runs. Maybe that was luck, but I don't know. But we're gonna, you know, talk to Looker, make sure to say yes to his question. So, you know, another thing where you just gotta pay attention, because these questions, man, they sneak up on you, man. They snuck up on me a lot. I don't think it's that bad if you say no to him. He doesn't, like, ask the question again. But, you know, it's a couple more text boxes. And, you know I have Manip because I can look at the NPCs. They're facing down, they're facing the right way. But right now, once Lucas leaves, I have to run into the Pokemon Center, and that's to set the teleport point for later on. But I kind of have to do with no visual cue when I get my, you know, when I get control of the character back. It's like a little bit after Lucas leaves, and that was always a little bit awkward for me. But hey, I get the job done, and no NPCs move in the Pokemon Center, so I know this is good. But I can also look at this old man. If he spins in a circle, I know I'm good. And because of earlier, I set up the bag, I can just spam A, because I already had the cursor over it. Now, you can decide not to heal for the fight, for the rival fight coming up. And you might be like, how would you do that? He has a Piplup. But the thing is, the Piplup loves to spam Growl. So if you get hit into good HP, so if you're like in 6 to 9, where you're like, you don't die to Piplup unless it's a max roll, you can actually just spam Blaze Embers against Piplup, and that's a lot faster than spamming, you know, unboosted ones. And yeah, the rival was a lot more complicated than I thought it was, because I only watched one fight when learning the, you know... Yeah. Now we're gonna do the text box thing here, where we end with a, direction. And you're gonna see me have the text boxes hang a little bit, just so I make sure. And for these clowns, you gotta talk to them really fast. And this was a big struggle point for me coming up. So we're gonna see the text box. I don't get rid of it immediately, but A, I don't get the turn frame. And I can look at these guys. If they turn down link, that means I know I talked to the first clown fast enough. You know, always answer yes to these guys. But yeah, talking to these clowns was a big struggle point, but then I changed how I talk to them. Before, I would just kind of mash, you know, I would run up to them, let go of the direction key, and then mash. But at, like, a week ago, before I got this run, I kind of switched up my strategy. Instead of mashing, I would just time a single A press, except for this guy. This guy, I would, like, mash A. But, like, I wouldn't mash B and L, I would only mash A. And this really helped me. And also, I know the old guy, he's walking down, so that means I talk to all of the clowns fast enough. That guy, you run into him to make sure you always exit the city at the same, point in the RNG. Because, you know, if you didn't have that guy to line you up, you know, you would have no idea where you are, because you're not going to talk to, you know, the guy's frame perfectly. You just have to talk to them, you know, in the same... You know, this early, it's got quick attack, it's got growl. If you're at high health, it's probably going to growl you. Can't really avoid that. But if it doesn't growl you, you're going to learn Taunt on the level up. And what you can actually do is Taunt the Piplup, leer it, and go for -1, you know, Piplup's at -1, you go for scratches, and that is a free shot. Well, no, it's like a 4 shot, but it can be a free shot. But at -1 attack, I'm not really thinking that's the play, so I just go for scratch here. And once you're at -2, Ember starts doing more damage. And this is where a bunch of your Embers can go to die, and where Ember count can get pretty spooky. Because if you get no burn, and if you get no crit, it can get pretty spooky, but I got a crit. And then I can actually... Ooh, do I finish this thing off with Scratch? I don't think I do. Yeah, no, I don't. You can see me conservative. Oh, but I get the burn anyway. So yeah, that's like 2 Embers saved. Actually, 3. You know, this berry text box coming up, it's another one where you have to mash fast because the NPCs are moving. And since the NPCs are moving, we're going to use another NPC to line ourselves up. You know, this guy doesn't talk for that long, so it's not too bad. But we're going to run straight into this girl. Sorry. And then we're going to get the star of the show. Well, more like the co-star. And that is Abra. Now, you might be thinking, bro, this thing's going to teleport. It's at full health. But nope, we got Taunt unlock. So, you know, I guess that's even another reason why you would pick Chimchar, even though it's not the main reason. Like, I don't know, if Piplup was the one that got Taunt, you wouldn't pick Piplup, you would just do Fly Around instead. But yeah, there are, like, a lot of points, including, like, straight after the gym where Teleport does save. Now, there are also points where Teleport doesn't save time over Flight, so it's actually pretty close. But yeah, you're able to taunt this thing, which is pretty nice. Now, Taunt wore off, because unlike in older generations, Taunt, Encore, moves like that, they have like a variable end length, so, you know, sometimes Taunt lasts for 5 turns, sometimes it lasts for 3 turns. Actually, now that I think, no, I have seen Taunt last for longer. Now, the Abra, it dies to 4 struggles, so if Abra's already struggled 3 times, there's actually no point in, like, trying to reapply Taunt. So, you know, back to doing movements. And one last time with the, textbook, trick. We're gonna do it for this guy. We're gonna end the text box with down instead of A to make sure we don't turn frame. Now, even though this place is pretty big, there's actually no NPCs, so, you know, it's actually not that bad. As long as you don't, you know, stomp in place and turn frame, it's actually pretty hard to lose Manip in this place. Oh, actually, no, we do it one more time versus this guy. But this guy, he has, like, it's like 1 word, so I actually don't even, I just, like, mash down. I don't even, like, go to A and then, like, go to down. Yeah, he doesn't talk for that long. And this is where I actually mess up Manip. Now, full blame on me. Well, obviously, full blame on me. Who else would be blamed? But full blame on me. I did not practice this part of the Manip enough when I was playing this game. And you'll see it. You will see it. Now, thankfully, yep, there's the bonk. And then I also take, like, I always mess up picking up the Pokeball, man. Like, it's so hard. But yep, here comes the Geodude. Now, that's obviously unfortunate, but, you know, I've had runs where, like, you know, I didn't Manip Abra, I came in, you know, to Rourke with, like, 7 encounters, you know. Honestly, I'm not gonna reset over 1 counter. I'm not at that level of play yet. Now, what was I saying? Well, I guess I forgot. That's rather unfortunate. Well, actually, I think I misplayed here with my menu in here a bit, too. Oh, no, that was a different run. Okay. I thought it was the run where, like, I teach the TM and then I go back to the medicine bag, even though I was already in the medicine bag. Now, we are kind of hampering Chimchar's moveset here with an HM. You wouldn't do this in Glitchless, or at least the Chimchar route where you use Chimchar. Because, you know, you just can't handle one of your, like, movesets being permanently, Rock Smash, but in Glitch, where we're not using it for that long, we can deal with that. Now, actually, pay attention up here. I'm gonna switch the Poketch to the step counter. Now, I'm not entirely sure how it works, but basically, the Poketch step counter, it creates lag. And what that does is it switches the parity without me having to change the year. Because if I change the year, then the journal's gonna pop up and make things slow. But instead, I can just change the step counter, and I don't have to change the year. Now, when you first save in Platinum, it takes a while, so, you know, that's why, you know, saving a lot of data, that's gonna take a while. But we reset, we change I changed my offset, which, you know, you can't see. And we're gonna change the clock here to 4:29. And what we're doing right now is Rourke Manip. Now, battle manips are pretty rare, because it's like pretty rare where you're using a mon that needs a manip to beat something, and it's still the fastest Pokemon. But what this allows us to do is manipping the fight, we don't have to evolve to Monfernos, so it's actually pretty worth it. Because before, you would have to fight a bunch of optionals, you know, to get the right levels. But instead, we're gonna do something a bit more fun. Or at least I think it's cool. I don't know. Now we're gonna hang the text box here, and we gotta wait. And if I did it correctly, there's two versions of the fights. One where the first Geodude misses a bunch of rock throws, and the second version where I burn it. So we Ember. And I get the burn, and I'm 99% sure I hit the manip. Now there are some frames where I get the burn, but the fight isn't right. But if you are within a certain frame, if you're always hitting within a certain window, then you know for sure that you're good to go. And then of course we get the crit. Now this fight is planned out. I already know I won. I just have to hit the moves in the right order. RNG doesn't move during the fight. It's just like, you know, switches turn to turn in Pokemon Platinum. So, you know, I don't have to hit the moves within a certain time frame, which is what I thought before running the game. But, you know, because, you know, that's obviously, you know, a step too far, but, you know. Well, not a step too far, but, you know, a step further. But no, you just have to hit the moves in the right order, and you're good to go. Now, you see, we are going to use a potion in this fight, and that's to get to a specific HP. Now, the burn fight is slower than the miss fight, unfortunately, but it's like by 14 seconds or something like that. You know, slow XP bar. But right now we're at 14 HP, and that's not in Blaze. So, we're gonna see, we do get a defense drop. We could just kill Cranidos at 1 HP. What we're actually gonna do is we're gonna heal in this fight. And that's gonna set up better HP for the fight coming up, and that's 12 HP. And 12 HP is the highest possible HP you can be exiting this fight without getting out of the Blaze. And Blaze is very important, well not very important, but it is important for the next fight. It allows you to two-shot the monsters instead of free-shotting them. Or it lets you use less embers anyway. There we go, 12 out of 38. If we were 13, we would just simply not have Blaze. Well, anyway, that's Rourke. I lose some time because I got the encounter, which I didn't get in my PB, and Abra was first turn catch in my PB. Okay, I guess the probability of catching Abra, it's like 22% on the first try, 40-something on the second, 68 on the third, 78 on the last one. So pretty likely to, you know, catch it. Now, you can kind of see my... Well, no, early on, I'm pretty familiar with the text boxes, but as I get later on, you can kind of see I am not that familiar with this game, so, you know, I'm a bit safe with the text boxes going forward. Now we're gonna buy some netballs. I wonder who's that for. Don't look at the split names if you don't want to be spoiled, but you probably already did. Now you might be shocked. Why are we catching that guy? There's no way he's that good. And you're kind of right, but, you know, Golduck, he's got some trick up his sleeves. You know, we're just gonna do some shopping here. Now, in the world record, what Worcester does is he manips the Golduck from the save and quit in Rourke's gym. So he accomplishes two things with the save and quit. He manips Rourke, but he also gets himself onto a new seed, which in the end will get him the Golduck. Now you might be wondering why I ran all the way here just to teleport, and that's because if you're in the city, you cannot use teleport. Why? I don't know, but you have to run out in a route. So, you know, that kind of bleeds into the time save, but oh well. You kind of see us do that a bunch in the run. But yeah, I don't do that, and that's because on emulator, to do that, I would have to change the year, which on console, you don't have to do that. And you also pop up the journal, which makes things pretty complicated. I had to, like, find different movement. And all in all, like, I was struggling with the manips as is, so I just decided to keep things simple, and I decided to stay with save and quit gold up, even though it is, like, you know, a lot slower having to do another save and quit. But also, there's just a chance I might not have been good enough to do extended from Roar, so who knows. But hey, this is the fight where we want to Blaze. Well, you want Blaze for every fight in the split, but you know, this is the first one where it pops up. Now, Turtwig can be pretty decent help here. We actually want to be hit by Glammy out here, because it sets up really good HP. Yeah, Turtwig killing Glammy out there is pretty nice. Turtwig also has Absorb, which, you know, that also kills Glammy, so one attack from us into one attack from Glammy will always kill. Now here I think Tackle actually doesn't kill, which I was pretty stunned at, because I thought 2 tackles from 1 Blaze Ember was guaranteed to kill, but I guess it wasn't. Now you did see I risked dying there, and you might be wondering, hey, wasn't that pretty risky? And it is risky, but since it's a double battle, Stunky could have just attacked Turtwig. Stunky also doesn't have an accurate move. Its most accurate is, actually, Poison Gas might be more accurate, but it has, like, Poison Gas, which can miss, Fury Swipes, which can miss. So I was pretty comfortable risking it. It also has Focus Energy and Screech, so Stunky, it's, like, pretty bad at attacking you. Even though it did attack me, so, you know, bad example. Which can also be kind of a bad thing, because if Glammy dies without attacking you, it's actually a little hard to achieve Blaze. But now we got Monferno, which gets 6 HP from evolving, which is why we want to get hit in that fight, because, you know, once you evolve, you gain HP, you're going to be kicked out Blaze if you don't get attacked. Now, what we're going to see here is the first spinner setup of the run. Because I don't have Manip, I can't just, you know when the spinner's going to spin and walk past them. I have to see when they spin. So what I'm going to first do is a spinner setup, and a spinner setup basically is I do certain movement, and by the time I get to the spinner, I know what part of the cycle they're in. And you need to know that because spinners can quick spin, which is like within 16 frames. So if you just, walk to them, see them spin in menu. So yeah, I know they can't spin back in time here, so I can just walk past them. I mean, there's gonna be a couple quick spins, so it's gonna be a better example coming up soon. Wow, my road sparks. This commentary shit's hard, huh? There goes Monferno, bravely rock smashing so I don't have to catch a Bidoof. What a guy. And once again, you see me do, kind of weird movement. And see, that was a quick spin. If I don't do those turn frames and instead I just menu without doing them, I would have no idea she was gonna turn, and I would have walked, and she would have saw me. So, that's why you do the turn frames there. And that's what I do if I miss the spinner step, because the spinner step doesn't force them to look away, it's just if they're looking in the correct direction, you're able to take advantage of it. Now here, I'm gonna pick up the Cherry Berry. You can also pick up a Pecha Berry, but I don't really find it's that worth it. It's, good for Mars, I guess, but, they rarely even use his Toxic when you're at this, low HP. Or she didn't do it that much to me. But the Pecha Berry is also useful, because you could just use it as, like an antidote. You don't need to equip it for it to be useful. But yeah, this is why Blaze is useful, because if you don't have Blaze, you cannot two-shot this Stunky. Or at least you can't two-shot without a defense drop. But we do get attacked here. Only 2 hits, though. But here's the thing coming up. This next fight is 2 Zubats. One Zubat I face at level 14, the other I face at level 15. When I face it at level 14, it's a 1 out of 16 to kill a Blaze Ember. The next one, it's a 14 out of 16 range to kill it. Well, I didn't explain ranges, okay, I'll do that later. But basically, this Zubat, it has Astonish, it can take me out, but it has 2 other moves, Leech Life, and it also has Supersonics. And then in another run, I did heal on these guys, and I got punished for it because it led to a slow Mars, and I didn't have enough Embers for the forest. So I risked it, I got Leech Life, and I got rewarded. Now, a range is, for Pokemon, moves, they have 16 possible damage ranges they can do. And it's like 85 to 100% of the damage from, you know, the damage formula. So you see, I got the 14 out of 16. So, you know, if something's a 14 out of 16 range, 14 out of the 16 possible damage ranges, you know, take it out. And that's why speedrunners mostly use out of 16 as the numeration instead of, you know, using percentage. You know, so, you know, 87.5% instead of, you know, 14 out of 16. Now, this guy, he gives you the honey, and he only has one text box after he gives you the honey, so I can actually mash away and not even, you know, pay attention. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick up an orange berry for Mars. You know, and I'm kind of, you know, looking at the run, it's like, okay. I didn't want the potion out of the blaze, because then you have to use a bunch more embers. But with the orange berry, it only gives me 10 HP. That means I can heal, but stay in blaze, which is really nice. But, you know, the amount that, you know, the health range where, like, an orange berry is useful is, like, pretty small. So it's not, like, it's not that good of an idea to, like, preemptively pick up the orange berry. Now, in Gen 4, Fake Out is the same priority as other priority moves, so you can just Mach Punch the Glameow, and they can't Fake Out you. Pretty strange, but, you know, hey, it works out. I think they changed that in the Gen 5. Really, they changed it in Gen 6. But yeah, you can just Mach Punch through the Fake Out. And, you know, here's the second, you know, another spinner stuff, but this time we're gonna see something interesting. So here I go, I use the orange, and I'm gonna equip the cherry berry here. Now, usually I do that in the next split when I repel, but, you know, I might as well do it now. And as you see, I actually ran one tile there, and I didn't even pull up the menu. Why was I able to do that? Well, because I knew where the spinner was in a cycle from the setup, I was actually able to do a run to walk. Now, if you watch Gen 3 runs, you might know what a run to walk is. You know, why don't you do that versus everyone? And that's simply because you need to know where the spinner is in the setup to do a run to walk in Gen 4, unfortunately. But because I maintain Blaze here, I get the 2-shot Mars Zubat. And this is the last ember I used before the double battle in the forest, and I have 5 embers going into the forest. So you know what that means is I can, you know, if it's an option, I'm able to Blaze Ember the Pachirisu coming up, instead of, like, having to hoard all my embers for the right side of the fight, which is all the bug types. Now here, I'm just gonna heal on the Fake Out. This is a good opportunity. Yeah, you see a lot of HP to heal to fight Perugly. But, you know, healing in the middle of the fight, what that allows you to do is, it allows you to keep Blaze for the, Zubat, you know, have high HP for Perugly. And we get Rock Smash, the defense drop from Rock Smash, which lets you Mach Punch. If you don't get the defense drop, that means you have to Leer the Perugly. And you, Leer it instead of attacking twice, because you don't want, you know, the berry, you know, it heals it, that takes time, over just, you know, getting the Leer text box. Now, getting no defense drop isn't entirely bad, because that means Perugly's gonna attack you again, and that means you get Blaze for the forest double. And Blaze is pretty nice. It allows you to do more damage to Pachirisu, and allows you to one-shot the Beautyfly. But it's also pretty hard to maintain Blaze in that fight, because Pachirisu does, you know, decent enough damage where it can force you to heal pretty quickly if you're playing it safe. You know, here's this Looker cutscene I always forget, because I did Diamond 80% before this long ago, and I just haven't played, you know, Platinum in so long. I used to always, like, one and done the games as a kid, and I kind of never got back to them because I never wanted to delete my save file. So, you know, I always forgot this existed for, like, when I started running this game. Now, if I remember correctly, there's going to be some unfortunate movement coming up. Yep. Yeah, I'm not entirely used to the, you know, system of this game, I guess, you know, how fast everything takes. So, when I get, like, stuck in place, sometimes it's hard for me to, you know, I, like, turn frame a bunch instead of, you know, actually moving. But yeah, that's another way to do a, you know, not a spinner setup, but, you know, pass a spinner. Is you stay one tile back, and then you walk forward once they spin, and then you pull up the menu. It wastes the same amount of frames as turn framing twice, or, you know, a similar amount anyway. You know, here's Cheryl. She's gonna kill our Pokemon after the battle, but not before it. Not before it. And this is a pretty tough fight. You might be thinking, bro, it's a bunch of bug types and a Pachirisu. How hard could it be? And I'm gonna say it. It's pretty hard, man. You gotta trust me on this. And what makes this hard is the Wurmple has String Shot. And if you get String Shot twice, you are slower than Beautifly. You can't outspeed it. And Beautifly does quite a bit of damage. So basically, you wanna revolve the fight around when Beautifly comes out. So there, I'm at -1 speed. If I get hit again by String Shot, it's currents for me. But there, you know, I got very lucky for Pachirisu. And here's something very good. I get tackled, I'm in Blaze, and I win the fight. That was an extremely fast fight and pretty lucky. With Blaze, I'm able to one-shot the Beautifly instead of two-shotting it. And the defense drop allowed me to take out Pachirisu, so I'm not scared about, you know, being hit into heal range. And the Beautifly, it does like 30 damage, so you can easily get kind of heal loops by it. And, you know, relying on Chansey to land its egg bombs, that's not a position you want to be in. Trust me, man. Trust me. You do not rely. You do not want to rely on Cheryl, even though she did clutch up in this fight by hitting Pachirisu. But yeah, I've lost a lot of runs to this fight, but in this one we get through it. Avoid that grass because we don't have our repel up. You might think that's obvious, but it wasn't obvious for a past version of me. And that's how I know. Now, in the middle of this fight, we're gonna get Flame Wheel after we take out one of the Abras. So if Chansey's able to do its job, we're actually able to get a 2-turn fight here. We're gonna Mach Punch because Ember isn't guaranteed to 2-shot. And this is actually a good thing that they're attacking me, even though it doesn't look like it. And that's because it's both the Abras have hidden power fighting. And because it's hidden power fighting, that means it gets super effective text boxes against Chansey. So when they attack me, there's no text boxes, so it's actually faster. But I didn't realize they do that much damage to you. They do a lot less than Diamond, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, Flame Wheel honestly takes care of those chumps. And now we're kind of past, you know, the scary part of the Chimchar Monferno section of the run. There's one more, like, scary fight, but, you know, Gardenia can be slow, but she's not too scary. You're not gonna, like, lose a run to her. I think I lost, like, one to her, and, you know, the trainers, they all die in one hit. They all die in the Flame Wheel, basically. Oh, yeah. Something I actually want to say is I used to, like, take the wrong path and then turn the force. I used to go below the trainers instead of above them, which, you know, that's just slower. I think I did that because that's what, like, the runs with Manip do, but, like, I don't have Manip, so I shouldn't be doing that, obviously. Then you're just gonna run down to the gym, all happy-like. Oh, yeah, I should probably say the things that Chimchar's plus speed nature gets, you know, makes you faster, man. It's Onyx, Gardenia's Roserade, and Cranidos, I believe. And some of those you might actually not need it. But yeah, it really just is Flame Wheel the gym. But yeah, for DS runs, you actually use the bottom screen, you use the touch screen, or I guess me, I'm using a mouse. But it's actually faster than spamming A, because if you hit A, like a red, I don't know, like a red outline will go around the, will go around the text boxes, and that's actually slower, so you know. Basically what I'm saying is it takes more inputs if you don't use the touch screen, and instead you only use, like, the buttons instead. Now for this gym, it's pretty nice, because I can just mash haphazardly, because there's always going to be this cutscene that goes around. So I don't have to, make sure I stop mashing in time or mash only B. I can just, go full ham with the mashing. Yeah, I might as well talk about, why I love this honestly, because, something, speedrunning really made me realize I love, like, the trainer themes in this game. But here's the one thing you can ember in this fight. And that's that bad boy. He has a low SPDF, so you can actually ember. And you ember instead of flame wheeling, because ember has less, less text. I'm just gonna skip through this. It's literally just flame wheel everything. But the gym, it's slightly more complicated. Now, there are scenarios where Gardenia, I don't know, she has some, like, low IQ movement moments, and she doesn't use Reflect with her Turret Wave. She'll use, like, Razor League for Sunny Day, and I don't know why she does that, but it's, like, pretty rare. I've seen it, like, twice, and I've gone here, like, I don't know, 20 times or something. I don't know, I might be overestimating that one. But, she definitely can lose you time, and it's mainly due to the second Pokemon, Cherim. Now, here we go. Ember can actually hit this fiend into heal range. Actually, I'm not sure if that's because I hit an optional, so maybe not at this level you can hit it into heal range. I think, like, Max Roll can, like, hit it into heal range. Now, we're gonna Ember twice here, and if this thing Leech Seeds, it gets pretty bad. Because then, like, another Ember doesn't kill it, but it puts it in the heal range. Thankfully, it's not, like, guaranteed to go for Leech Seed, but, like, I'm not even sure, like, what's, like, entirely the right play for Leech Seeds. I guess leering twice and waiting for a Reflect to wear out might be the play. But yeah, even if Reflect was enough, you can't kill this thing with one Flame Wheel anyway. And we actually dodged the Sunspore, even though we had the Cherry Berry. And there's one more spot where this Cherry Berry can be useful, and that's in the third rival fight, but it doesn't come into play in this run, unfortunately. Well, I actually thought about it before commentating this run, I actually don't even know if it saves time. But yeah, actually, huge gold, mostly to the forest fight, probably. I didn't even realize how much the gold was by, wow. But yep, here's our guy right here. The supposed GOAT, and I know you're spitting on I know you're downing him. I know you're calling him a fraud. There's no way Golduck is being used in the speedrun. That guy's ass. But you're about to see the power of Golduck. Or more realistically, the power of glitches. Because you're about to see why this is any percent and not any percent glitchless in a minute. Because he might be thinking, hey, where are the glitches? This is any percent, right? Well, you're about to see him. First, we gotta talk to this guy. You're not allowed to leave town without talking to him, so might as well do it now. Now, for the longest time, I've been saying no to this guy because I thought it was less text boxes, but I think it's actually faster if you do yes. So, whoops on my part. But you can see I'm actually unfamiliar with the yes text boxes, so maybe I should have stuck with no. You know, just a couple cutscenes here. And we're actually gonna go into this house right here. Spoiler alert, I know. I'm sorry. And we're gonna buy some herbs. Now, you don't do this if you have Manip, because you would have done your shopping in Floroma. And you don't do any extra shopping. You know, since I don't have Manip, you know, might as well do it. But I actually did, I'm not sure if I did it this run, changed up my shopping. Let's see. Because for the longest time, I bought a revival herb here. But let's see if I do it. Ah, no, I don't do it. Instead of buying a revival herb, I've actually bought one more heal powder instead. Because I almost never used a revival herb. Because there's this large stretches of the run where your team is dead. So if, you know, the main Pokemon dies, you can't revive because everyone else is already dead. So, you know, there's just a point where it's like, I don't know, should I really be getting this? It also doesn't help I copied the shopping from a marathon route that did fly route instead of teleport routes. You know, I probably should have changed it up sooner anyway, but, you know, probably that one a bit too late. But also, buying the Revival Herb also means you buy less Hyper Potions less on, because you have less money. So I'm stuck with 5 Hyper instead of, you know, like 7, which is why I do in the new route. But yeah, we teach Cut once again to Monferno. He takes it like a champ, because he knows this is his role now. But it's okay. We're completely fine with, you know, Monferno's moveset being turned into absolute garbage, because he's getting replaced soon anyway, so... Sorry, pal, your time's coming up. And, I think we know who's doing the replacing. But yeah, another mashing trick you can do here, well, not trick, but, you know, tip. Kind of like a visual cue. You know, somehow I talked to this guy twice before, but once he spins back to the uniform, that's when he's done talking, so I can just go crazy with my mashing. And then once he spins, I stop mashing. Now, in my original notes, I actually had notes for how to move through this place, but I was kind of embarrassed, so I kind of got rid of them once I made it public. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what the trick is that, you know, Looker tells you. Is it the signs? I think it is the signs. I don't know. You know what? It was kind of, you know, unfamiliarity of the game. I don't know, I think I'm coping right now. But yeah, Jupiter should be a pretty scary fight, but I don't know. I've like not seen enough night/crits for how many times I find this person. It's kind of crazy. I always said I was due, but you know, I kind of always got away with it. You know, Zubats, they finally start learning wing attacks, so this guy actually kind of a threat, so you know, that's why you have to heal if you take damage from a Gardenia, but I didn't take damage from Gardenia, so I don't know why I said that. But here's the big boy. So the plan is you leer, and then you hit it with one non-blaze flame wheel. And then you hit it with one blaze flame wheel, and that makes sure you skip the berry. It doesn't heal. And this is one of the fights where the Revival Herb is pretty useful. I've used it before here. Useless crit. I guess it's actually not guaranteed for the flame wheel to kill, so it's not completely useless. But yeah, the HP you end here, it's actually kind of important. Because if Monferno is higher HP, you can actually switch directly into it on rival free. I started, like, doing that a little bit or testing it out, like, very late into my runs, like, my last couple runs. I think I did it, like, once. But yeah, we don't care about Monferno's HP, so we're not going to heal the poison. The antidotes only go to, the new guy in town. I'm sorry, Monferno. But we're actually not done in the Galactic Hideout just yet, because we gotta pick up an important item, and that's X Specials. Now, X items, you know, pretty standard for Pokemon speedruns, and you can't buy X items until Veilstone. But we're actually gonna sequence break the game a little bit, so we actually don't get them until past the first Cyrus fight in what's the town called? No, it's not Salacio in town, it's, wait, is it? No. I don't know, the one past the fog route, man. I'm sorry, I'm a fake fan, you caught me. But hey, this is where the glitching starts, because, well, okay, first we get Togepi, and we actually don't deposit Togepi, because it makes some of the PC healing better. So, you know, the goat gets to stay on the team, man. But yeah, the bike, this is how you glitch in this game. And the glitch, it's called tweaking. And basically what it is when you... The maps in this game are divided by load lines. So if you ever played Minecraft, it's kind of like that. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, like 16 by 16, but basically there are lines where, like, the chunks... Well, not the chunks, but, like, the areas are segregated. And if you bike in between them, things get a little weird. Now, first here, I'm gonna switch the honey to the top of the menu, so there's less lag. And why do I care about lag? It's because we're gonna do the final manip of the run. And then we're gonna switch Abra with the egg. Oh, I didn't even do a Pokerus. I didn't describe that at all. Whoopsie. Okay, so basically, Chimchar, it got Pokerus after it battled the trainer with the Burmy before Jubilife. So, whoopsie, kind of forgot to mention that. And Abra at some point gets it spread to it. And I switched the egg and the Abra because when I catch Golduck, Golduck is going to be in the 4th spot, and to spread Pokerus to the Golduck, Abra has to be next to the Golduck. See, unfortunately for a Golduck Manip, I have to change the year so the journal's gonna pop up, which you're gonna see here, so I have to do like a longer offset than, you know, if you Chimchar and Golduck were on the same year. Now, this Manip, it was the hardest one for me. It always kicked my butt, and the run before this one, I tried it for like 8 times and I didn't get it once, and I was like, I'll probably just get it on the next run. But there's actually 2 parts. The first part is hitting continue. That's for spawning Golduck, and the second part is using the honey, which is why it has to be at the top there for the catch Manip to work. And this is how Golduck turns good, because it's level 40. Now, there are other options you can get, because there are other places where you can, like, tweak on top of a Surf tile and then use the honey. It used to be Tentacruel. There's also Gastrodon and Pelipper, but obviously we're not using, you know, trash Pelipper. But yeah, if I don't do the catch Manip properly and Golduck breaks out, I actually have the honey again to make sure Golduck gets the Pokerus, which is very important, because what Pokerus does is it doubles the EV gains you get for the, from the fights. You know, Pokemon, they give you EVs, and the more EVs they get, the more in the stat you get. So, you know, Bidoof will give you, that was a horrible example, I don't know, Machop, that's a good example. Machop gets you attack EVs. So normally, if you take down a Machop, it'll give, you know, I don't know, your Pokemon 1 attack EV, and if you get 4 EVs equals 1 stats. You know, if you get 4 attack EVs, your stat is like 1 higher than it usually would be. But Pokerus, it doubles it. Now, we're actually going to set our teleport point to Orbord now. So we're just going to do that real quick while we get from Cycling Road. And this is the first, and surprisingly, only optional of the run. And you see, the movement got messed up early on. Oh, actually, no, it's actually the next split, whoops. And you see, I actually took that trainer really badly. Like, I risked it for no reason. I kind of came to my senses. I just passed him for, like, I didn't wait for him to spin at all. But yeah, on the bike, there's a new way to pass trainers now, and that's if you're in the slow gear, you accelerate faster than you are in the fast gear. So if you're in the slow gear and you see a trainer spin, no need to pull up the menu, you just go past them. So yeah, spinners get... Actually, spinners really aren't that scary in this game in general. It's actually like the optionals that are kind of scarier, to be honest, because they're in like some pretty tough spots, I'm not gonna lie. They got me in this game, man. The optionals, they got me. And because the slow gear accelerates, okay, we're gonna swap Golduck to the front. I actually should have swapped Golduck. Oh, actually, no, I think it is faster to do it from Monferno. I used to do it, you know, I put the cursor on Golduck, and then I switch Golduck to Monferno, because, like, oh, Monferno has all the HMs, it's slower. But actually, now that I think about it, if you switch Monferno with Golduck, you don't have to move the cursor twice. You just have to move it once from Monferno to Golduck. Because if you do it the other way, you have to move the cursor to Golduck, and then move it back to Monferno. So here's another spinner setup. I actually messed it up. You're supposed to menu in this spot, so, you know, I couldn't take the pass. If I did it correctly, I actually could have done it because he was looking the right way. But yeah, another thing about the slow bike is you'll actually hear me shifting gears down to the slow gear. You know, before I fight a trainer and before I enter an area. And that's because of the faster acceleration, when you're going from 0 momentum, you want to be in the slow gear. And then you switch after 1 tile. Here, the movement charts, I don't do that. Oh yeah, this version, they're not a spinner, they're a rotator, so they spin on a cycle. Now, this is actually pretty unlucky, because the first, like, 8 tiles of a route, it's actually a reduced encountering chance, but I did take an extra fin of grass for no reason. So you just wait for them to spin it, and you go past them in the slow gear. It's pretty nice. But yeah, obviously, you know, we kind of broke the game a little bit, because you're not supposed to have level 40 Golduck at this point in the game. Now, not, you know, not to downplay or anything, But it's not as easy as it seems. Like, when I went and learned this game, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be free as hell. But it actually is a little bit harder than it seems. There's a lot of status you can get. Healing items can get pretty stretched pretty fast because you don't do a lot of shopping in this route. And even if they don't, take you down, it's a speedrun. It's, not a challenge run. It doesn't matter if they don't kill you, if they just annoy you. Or paint you, I don't know. But yeah, in my previous run, or like on a different day, I actually forgot to talk to Fantina before I exited it here, so whoops. And speaking of Fantina, her gym is pretty scary. We're gonna talk to her because it's a bunch of walkers. And walkers, they're like spinners, but instead of spinning, they walk. They go in a direction. But also, some spinners and, these walkers, they're deaf, so you can actually run past them. Because most spinners, actually, I kind of forgot to explain this, they'll hear you when you run. So if you try running past them, they'll automatically turn. Thankfully, these guys are not like that, so we don't need to pull up the menu. But yeah. I'm actually not sure what I'm supposed to do here, or what I was supposed to do. Because I kind of just hope the NPC moves less. But then, I don't know. But yeah, you kind of saw me, I got pretty spooked there. Because I really have no idea what you're supposed to do if she moves left. And I've never seen this person here, or that down before, so that also spooked me. But yeah, from Golduck Manip, that's actually where we manipped the, what door we were supposed to take for Fantina's gem. So that's why I didn't have to look at the blue tiles. I already knew. It was from Golduck Manip. But yeah, this is Fantina. She really can't do much. She's kind of in a messed up position, but she has some priority moves she can use, and she has Confuse Ray on her Miss Magia, so, she can, take a couple seconds off you. Yeah, she doesn't use Confuse Ray too much, or I don't know, I just don't get here that often. But yeah, you kind of see the power of having a level 40 Pokemon. I mean, Miss Magia, this thing's, really scary, and it did, 21 to me. But, obviously, since we're a higher level, it's gonna take us longer to, level up. So, as we go out throughout the game, the level advantage is gonna, slowly start to disappear. It's always gonna be there, but, at the same time, we're kind of using the Golduck. Number one of Golduck's strength is actually gonna appear in this split, and that's its ability. But I'll, go more into detail later. But, at this point of the run, I've been really bad at Manips. I got Golduck Manip first try, I got a pretty good Gardenia, I took advantage of the time save, and I got first try Rourke, I got Abra. This is probably my best run up to this point. If not, one of the best. And I am nervous. And I'm extremely nervous because a couple days before this run, I also had a really good run. It was also, my best run up to this point. And I choked it. Choked it really bad, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I, hit an optional almost immediately. The guy had, 5 Pokemon, so I lost, a minute. And then I soft-locked myself during one of the tweaks. Well, because of the soft-lock, I did discover, how to fix it. Here comes Barry. Now, there is an option to use Fury Swipes on this Roselia, but, even if I didn't have Monferno, I would just use, what was I gonna say? I would just use Wire Pulse, it's a 2-shot. Because Fury Swipes is a garbage move. It's 80% accurate, man. But yeah, since Monferno's too low health, I can't switch into it directly. Yeah, here it comes. Oh, it's literally at 1 HP, yeah. I mean, it mostly uses, Stun Sport, but I have seen it use, Poison Sting on the Switch. But, Monferno, hey. He's been replaced, but he came back to do one job Golduck couldn't do, so, clap it up for the go. But yeah, we're just gonna let him die. And we're actually gonna, and the reason why we actually sack Abra is not just to let Monferno come in safely, it's because there's a double battle coming up on the next route. And if you only have one Pokemon, you just get the, you know, walk straight past them. But yeah, you're kind of seeing the limitations of Golduck right now. You might not, and you might be saying, no, we're not seeing the limitations, bro. You're destroying this guy. And that's Golduck's limited move pool. Now, water is a pretty good type. It's only resisted by 3 types. Dragon, which is pretty rare. Water and grass. So, you know, you're not, like, too scared. But the thing is, Golduck throughout this run, it uses one non-water move once. Well, more like 4 times, but it does it in one fight, and that's it. I guess you would do it some other time in the run. But Golduck in this run only uses water moves. Now, this guy's a spinner. We could do a spinner pass, but we just risked the grass, because once again, it was lower encounter rate because it was the first tiles of grass, so it's not as risky as it seems. It's way better just to, you know, go past the spin and wait for him to spin. We pick up this Ether, and we're gonna repel here. Oh yeah, and this double battle also can't base you, because, you know, you only have one Pokemon, so... That one's not mandatory, because you could just bike around them, but, you know, it's another nice thing to have. But here's the second tweak of the run, and this is kind of a sad one, because I used to be really good at the first part of the tweak, but I don't know, I just kind of lost it. And the really bad thing about this one is if you don't get the tweak first try, the repel wears out too fast. So, you know, we're gonna... And we're doing this tweak to avoid the Psyducks blocking the path. I get off the bike to reduce the encounter rate, but it's not enough. I get an encounter. So we're gonna unfortunately have to redo the tweak, which is... It's tough. It loses, like, I don't know, what, 20 seconds or something? I don't know, I made that number up. I don't know why I just said that. But yeah, I used to be... Like, it's not that hard of a tweak, but I don't know, I just, like, lost the timing for it. But the second part is really hard. This is the toughest tweak in the run, I think. Because it's pretty awkward. And the awkward thing about it is, like, you can't, like... Okay, let me explain it. The tweak is awkward because, you know, you go up, right, and then up and down, and then up again. But it's not like when you first go up, you go down. You have to go up 3 tiles, and then, you know, go down, up. And that's what makes it really awkward the time. Because, you know, the bike has some momentum on it, so it's, you know, pretty hard, you know, like, go down on it, and then back up. So probably, like, the hardest tweak in the run, and with this route where you go the fog route early, you have to do it twice, man. You gotta do that one twice, it's tough. Now, lo and behold, this Apom is arranged, because, you know, these guys are pretty high level. You know, you're not supposed to be here until later on, so, you know. Whoopsie. Now, this Squirtle would be a threat, but it just loves the spam curse for whatever reason. It does have Mega Drain, which is really annoying, because if it uses Mega Drain, it heals itself out of free shot range. But, you know, he just loves using Curse, so you can't hate him. He just loves doing what he does. Well, I guess it's, you know, the trainer, not him, but I don't know. And then this Giraffe Raid. There's not, like, a lot of places where getting the Confusion can help, but this is one of them. I think it's, like, a range to die to a Confusion, though, but, yeah, we didn't get it. Oh, yeah, also that Apom was, like, a range. It was, like, 9 out of 16. I did actually open the notes to get the right ranges. Let me do that real quick. Alright, here comes another spinner setup. We gotta make sure to go up the right side of the staircase, because if you go up the left side, he can spot you from there. Well, if you stay on the left side, if you notice it fast enough, you can correct it. But yeah, that guy has 3 Pokemon, and some of them don't die in one shot, so he's probably one of the worst spinners to hit. There's, like, some optionals with, like, 5 Pokemon, but, like, that guy, he's not one to hit. Ask me how I know. But yeah, this Machoke can actually do quite a sizable amount of damage to you. Yeah, but Speedrun has way better moves than Seismic Toss, so... It's actually pretty thankful that I only used that instead of Submission or Revenge, which do quite a bit more damage. Now, I'm actually gonna make a mistake here. That's by slowing down the gear. Now, usually that's a good thing before a trainer. But actually, it's pretty bad here, because for the spinner setup after this guy, you want to be in the fast gear to start, and then you go to slow gear. Now, hit this hoo-hoo just like the A-Palm's arranged. 7 out of 16 instead of 8 out of 16 for the A-Palm. We miss it. Unlucky. Yeah. Now for this Noctowl here, if you're desperate for PP, you could use Furious Flames, maybe Screech it or something like that. But since I'm not, I'm just gonna, you know, Warner Pulse it. Yeah, you know, Furious Flames is a pretty bad move. You don't want to be caught using that. Now actually, since we got crit there, unfortunately we did have to use the energy route there. Usually you want to heal outside of battle, because, you know, when you use it in battle, you get hit after, and then also it's just kind of, you know, slower in battle. Yeah, sorry if my energy's a bit, you know, worse than what it was like a second though, because OBS, it just keeps, you know, keeps messing me up. Yeah, there we go. You know, the whole, like, kind of balancing with the herbs is, you know, they're cheaper, but, you know, they lower friendship. But, you know, in the speedrun, if you're not using, you know, return, sorry, pal, I'm gonna use the cheap option. But, you know, also, you know, the herbs is early on, so you can't buy a bunch of them, so I guess Golduck is kind of thankful for that. But now it's time for the most important item of the run, and that's the choice specs right there. Now, this guy actually changes the item he gives based on the time of day, but since we're playing in the morning, he gives us the specs, so we're good to go. Now, I don't do it here, but a lot of times I almost trash the choice specs, because usually, you know, when you give an item, in the speedrun context, that's usually like a berry or something, so it's like, okay, I press A, and then I go down for give to avoid hitting use, but, you know, obviously you can't use a choice specs, so, you know, there's only give at the top, but, you know, I'm not that used to it, so, you know, a lot of times I'll, like, go down, you know, with muscle memory, and then I almost trash it. But we're actually going to see the power of choice specs right here in this fight, the very first one to use it for. Excuse me. Now, obviously, you know, Houndour, that thing's going to die to one hit, you know. It's Houndour, it's fire type. We got a level 43 now, Golduck. But the Golduck, it actually doesn't die without choice specs. Ask me how I know that. But actually, don't do that. Yeah, we just, Water Pulse there. Now, the other unfortunate thing about healing in that, battle with Noctowl, I just remembered, is usually you would be able to combine the healing and putting on the choice specs at the same time. You know, and that's like a big key in Pokemon speedrunning, is combining menus. You don't want to, like, repel and then do nothing else in the menu. You usually want to, you know, find something else to do, you know, teach HMs and all that. You know, you kind of see me kind of do that. Yeah, we're just gonna talk here. Now, Cyrus actually asked you a question in this text, which I kind of did not realize for a hot minute. So, you know, I'm like, wait, why is the text sometimes longer? But, you know, yeah, it's because I said no to him, and then you gotta, you know, he'll ask it again. And yeah, the text boxes in this game are pretty dangerous, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times, they will, like, do, like, 5 full sentences if you, like, talk to them again. It's pretty messed up. You know, you gotta be careful here. I'm going a bit slower. I hit yes, and then this is the fight that we actually pick up the X Special. You know, it doesn't do all that much, but, you know, gotta put in the work. You know, this fight's not too scary, but, you know, Sneasel has Slash, you know, a high crit move, so, you know, that's what you usually heal before this fight. Oh, I actually do get crit in this run. Yeah, usually I avoid it, but, you know, it looks like this time didn't get that lucky. It also has quick attack. But you're also healing for weight, because you're probably not going to menu again before that fight. Which is usually why I use the energy route, because, you know, yeah, you don't need to heal much for this route, but you're not just healing for this, you know, fight when, you know, you heal in the choice specs menu. You're healing for all the fights before it. Because you don't want to, you know, use an energy powder just to have to use another one when you could have just used one energy route. But yeah, I'm gonna lose time on this split because of the bad tweaking, you know, getting the encounter kinda sucks. But all in all, you know, I'm still on pace. I'm not losing that much time. You know, I'm still a bit nervous because of the pace, you know, but hey, we're cooking. Now the pace might not seem that crazy, but if you look at my best possible time down here, it's only like 2 minutes removed from my sum of best, and that's because a lot of my time save is now accessible. Like, Gardenia was really only my bad early game split, but a lot of my worst splits are in the late and the mid game, which is about right now. That's why I say it's the mid game. You know, more mashing. And, you know, to avoid talking twice, you know, with text boxes I'm unfamiliar with, you know, I might be thinking, how am I doing? I'm just, like, mashing B only. I'm not hitting A. I'm not hitting L. I'm only mashing, you know, B. Pull up the menu, because I hit X instead of Y. Whoopsie. And then you see me, you know, driving into the route so I can use teleport. But yeah, this spinner setup is probably the hardest one I go for. And it's the one I practiced, like, a decent bit. Like, I didn't, like, start with it, but, like, I started going for it. But, as you see, I bonk, I go too high, and I hit this trainer. I did notice I went too high, but it was way too late. Now, thankfully, because the fog went well, I actually have enough water pulses, so I'm not gonna struggle. Oh, actually, wait, no, I do struggle. Because Meditate's gonna detect. But yeah, that's kind of the tough part about, like, you know, the spinners is, like, you're really tight on PP in this run, so if you hit them, you know, it's not just, you know, the time loss, but it's also like, okay, how am I gonna make up the moves I just used? So yeah, struggle in this game, it does flat 1/4 recoil, so ouchie. But yeah, obviously the setup's messed up because I went too high, so I just have to do it the normal way. And I actually run there, and the reason why I ran is I forced him to look to the right, and the reason why I want him to look that way is if I don't, I have to wait for him to spin, and then I have to wait for him to spin again. Because if he's looking, you know, away from me, I can't just, you know, go past him. Well, I think I did do that early in the run. Alright, that's what the spinner setup's supposed to look like. That's what I tried doing earlier. Messed up, I got it there. Yeah, you can kind of see the nerves. My biking is a little messed up here. Yeah, I should have went to the fast gear, but I don't know, that repel messed me up, I guess. Alright, that time I got the set up, but she's looking the wrong way, so whoops. And the reason why I'm on the bottom part of the bridge is so, if I'm on the top part of the bridge, that jogger can, see me. It's, some trainer classes in, Platinum, they only, you know, battle you at certain points. So, you know, cops, they only fight you at night, and then, joggers, they only face you in the morning. So, since, you know, the minute happens in the morning to get the choice specs, we have to be wary of joggers. And we get this rare candy now. And you can't get it if you do, like, the second tweak first, so we have to, like, go up and then, you know, do the tweak. And I actually get it. Now, this trainer, she can see you. You know, I go a bit slow there to make sure, I don't, like, walk too far up into her vision. I actually take this part slow. And the reason why is because if I went one tile further down, that can actually cause the tweak coming up to make me crash the game, but... Alright, here's the second move we're gonna use for the entire run, and that is Surf. You know, 95 power, water move, you have to have it to beat the game. And that's another reason to go through the fog route early in sequence break. Just so you can get Surf in the specs early. Get the Seeper. But yeah, if we went too far down, I actually would have had to go into the bag and use the repel, even though I've already used it, to get the text box, and that would make it so I wouldn't crash. But since I didn't do that, you know, I didn't have to go through the worries of going into the bag and, you know, using the repel. But yeah, I actually didn't know about that, using the repel to make sure I don't crash. So I've actually lost quite a few runs to crashing in this vein. I used to think it was because of, like, the jogger being too close or something. And yeah, I actually, you know, wait for the jogger there before I do it. And, you know, I tweak there to, you know, go past the trainers. I save and quit, because if I don't save and quit, at some point I'll crash the game. So I do it before entering Veilstone. And yeah, if you do the tweak while the jogger is walking up or down, even when you, like, you know, freeze him in place, he can actually still challenge you. So you gotta be, like, careful. You have to, like, go for the grass, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, in this game, you can actually buffer soft reset, so to make sure I do it as fast as possible, I just hold LR. Oh, and here comes Togepi. This is actually kind of spooky timing, because if Togepi hatches while you're in the middle of a tweak, I think you get soft lock, like you freeze. I think I've had, like, yeah, so that's another reason why it's, you know, you have to be on tip-top shape with your tweaks. Because if you take too long to do them, you know, Togepi's gonna ruin your day, so you don't want your run ruined by a goddamn Togepi. That's really sad. But hey, here come the X items. So we got 1 X speed, I wonder what fight that's for. And then a bunch of X specials. Now we actually buy more X specials than we need. First off, there are some fights where if you don't have enough Surf PP, you have to X special and then Water Pulse them. But the other reason is it's just faster to buy more than you need. So you just hit right twice instead of, you know, hit right twice and then down to like 15 or whatever it would be. I actually buy an extra Paralyze heal. I probably should have just bought full heal if I was only going to buy one of them. I actually did mean to buy more Paralyze heals, but like, I guess I figured it wasn't worth it to go back into the menu. Yeah, we're gonna get this rare candy. We're actually gonna immediately use the PP up we got from the, around the mart. It's kind of funny. You know, you pick it up and immediately use it. But it makes sense, because Water Pulse and Surf, those are basically the only moves we use in the game. It kind of shows you the power Golduck, and it kind of shows you the limitations of Golduck, because, you know, technically you got the poison moves for coverage, so you can hit, like, water types neutrally. You can hit dragons and, you know, grass types super effectively. No, not dragons, but dragons neutrally as well. Yeah, we're gonna heal there, because Sneasel kind of messed me up. Yeah, that's what you can do in motion, like, you don't have to stop. You can just, like, do it all in one go, but yeah. And since I didn't do it all in one motion, this NPC, I can't, like, go, like, you'll see what I mean. But, you know, another save and quit. Not all tweaks need this, but these two do need it. And you can actually kind of see the time save available in my PB. Kind of look right here, like my PB 1536, best 1433. But you're gonna see here, I'm gonna pause, because this guy, well, I might have been able to make it if I went to the fast gear. But yeah, this guy is pretty spooky because he spins, but, you know, he's actually not that bad. Oh, that trainer I passed right there, he actually was a spinner, but he has a vision range of 1. There's a lot of trainers like that, where, like, I used to be scared of them when, like, in my first runs, but then, like, I test around, it's like, wait, this guy, he can't see, what am I scared of? Yeah, we get the spinner set there, and yeah, once again, more grass re-risk, but once again, it's the first 8 tiles, it's actually not that scary. Now, another tweak. Now, something I need to make sure of is I don't go above where I am right now. I cannot go above, because otherwise I need to reload the route. And another thing about that tweak is you can actually do it in the fast gear or the slow gear, which is pretty cool. If you do it in the fast gear, it actually keeps, like, the graphics loaded. But that's pretty cool. I guess it makes movement a bit easier. But yeah, another gym where, like, the trainers are pretty chill. You know, you surf a bunch, and it's not really that bad. But this is where PP starts being kind of an issue. If you, like, hit that spinner with the Glamio, like, I have no spare water pulses, so if I hit that trainer, you know, I might not have enough surfs for Saturn. And that's where things get pretty scary. But yeah, this gym, just like the other... Okay, we don't teach Zen Headbutt here. I guess something you actually could do is, you know, if you know you don't have enough surfs, you could actually teach Zen Headbutt and, like, use it on some of the trainers. You know what? Another thing is, you probably shouldn't teach Surf over Fury Swipes. Because if you have Fury Swipes, that's like another move you can use if you like hit an optional, so... Maybe some like bad play on my part to like always teach it, but you know, it's kind of like a thing like once you do it, you can't go back, because muscle memory is a strong thing, so, you know, if I like start teaching Surf in the bottom right, especially with choice specs where like I would have to switch out to make sure I could use the move again, yeah, you don't want to mess with muscle memory. And for the most part, you're like fine. Like once you do the heal coming up, you got like plenty of water pulses where you don't have to be scared of optionals. But like before Saturn, it's like things can get pretty tight. But yeah, we're kind of just surfing everything. Yeah, like after Saturn, we're gonna do a PC heal and a Ore Bird. And you have 1 spare surf. And if you miss a range in the stream, you have 0 spare surfs. So there have been runs where I had to like I had to take the hotel heal, I skipped the PC heal, so now I have left surfs for, you know, Byron's gym. And then it's like, you know, Barry, the fighting candle, like he has double team. So if you mess up surf PP and you get double teams, you're probably just doomed, because, you know, you can't go in the center because that's gonna change your teleport point. See, man, it's, pretty important, you know, don't mess with that and all that. Oh yeah, there's actually something you should, see here. You might have already seen it, well, I'm gonna point it out. Yeah, Gen 4 stairs are weird. You can just run right up them. You know, the first tile of them, you can just, like, run through the side. I'm not sure if it's, like, something that's, like, purposeful, or, like, they just weren't coded properly, but... yeah, sometimes I forget to do that. You know, make sure to call me out in the comments if I, run through a stair. Because, like, I think I only realized it, like halfway when, like, doing runs. But yeah, this is the range coming up. It's, 8 out of 16 in the mirror matchup. But yeah, if you miss this, you have 0 spare surfs, so you, better do that spinner setup coming up perfectly. And we don't hit it. Yeah, the thing, the other thing about hitting optionals in this run is, like, they don't really help you, because, you know, you're, like, for the most part, you're over-leveled, and you also use a bunch of rare candies in this run, so you don't even get, like, an extra level for the most part. Like, unless you hit particular ones in the late game. Because, like, the rare candy is just gonna level you off anyway, so, like, maybe you reach a level earlier, but, you know. Now, something we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna surf X Special and then surf again. The reason why we don't start with the X Special is because if you started with the X Special, you would actually hit Gyarados into heal range. Ask me how I know that. But yeah, you actually do this 2-shot Gyarados. I think it might be a range. I counted, but I guess I didn't write it down. But you actually need the X Special for Floatzel anyway. It's like a 1 out of 16 to take it out. And, you know, PP's a big issue, you know. If you don't take out Floatzel, that's 1 less surf. And if you go for, like, the range when it heals, which you shouldn't, you would just X Special when it heals, that'd be faster. So yeah, that'd be you know, potentially more surfs down, so yeah, it's very much not worth risking it. Like, unless Wake didn't heal, then, like, maybe, but, you know. And as you see, we end the fight with 3 surfs, and that's exactly how many we need to take down Saturn. But yeah, even though I hit an optional in this split, I golded it. Which kind of goes to show, like, how bad this gold is. Oh yeah, I might as well address the elephant in the room now that I've noticed it. The attempt counter, it's fake. Do not give me props about this in the comments, please. A bunch of these runs are me, like, resetting the because I messed up the manip. Like, I checked the ID, it's wrong, I reset. And a lot of manips, I, like, mess up the movement, so, like, I have to reset, so, you know. It's a lot less impressive than it looks. Okay, that always gets me. That always makes me chuckle, man. Especially when I first started running it, like, buried running through the trees. It always gives me a smile, man. But yeah, now we're gonna pass the spinner with the Glameow from the other side. So we're passing the spinner 3 times in this run. So, you know, if you hit her early on, it's actually not that bad, because then you can just, like, bike past her and not care. That was not safe. You're supposed to menu when you're, like, right on top of her. Not when I did it. So, like, she definitely could have spun and saw me, but, you know, risk it for the biscuit, I guess. Now, just like the Pastoria tweak, if I go too high and I don't get the tweak, I actually have to reload the route. Now here, I'm on the slow bike for a spinner setup, but I almost never get the setup. Kinda messed up. Oh, I do it anyway, and that guy almost saw me. I don't remember doing that. Oh, this is like one of the only places you do like an audio check in this run, but yeah. I probably should just go through that place with the fast bike, to be honest, because, like, I almost never get the spinner set up anyway. It's, like, real awkward going through those rocks. But yeah, since we didn't face any optionals, we can surf this guy. Now, let it be warned, if you use Brian against him, it is not enough. Brian will not one-shot his Pokemon. Ask me how I know that. I thought I was a genius when I first did that. And then I just lost the run, because, like, his, I think it might have been Golbat? I don't know, something, like, took me out when it, like, didn't die. Which makes sense, but, like, I don't know why I thought Brian would, like, take him out. You're not that over-leveled. But yeah, I guess you can also, like, teach Brian as a backup. I think it's just better to, like, hotel heal early. I don't know. But yep, that's that guy taken care of. Oh yeah, the tweak, by the way, was to deload some NPCs that, like, block the lake. I think they're, like, reporters or something. So you're actually gonna see me get on and off the bike, and that, creates less audio lag. So it's gonna load faster. And Abra, once again, to go gain some work in. Now we have 0 water poses and 0 surfs, so, you know, obviously, we gotta fix that. We just gotta. So we're actually gonna do some healing. I think I messed it up. Let's actually check it out real quick. Oh, you see the hands turn yellow? That happens when you click Y. Okay, no, I didn't mess it up. But yeah, turning the hand yellow means, like, usually when you, like, select a Pokemon, it'll be, like, move, to pause it, it'll give you, like, a million options. But by pressing Y, when the hand is hovering over a Pokemon, it turns yellow, and it just, you know, does move only. Yeah, that's pretty convenient. I didn't know that for, like, a pretty long while. Yeah, I'm in a slow bike there, because, you know, I like taking that movement a bit slow. You know, this isn't, like, anything to the speedrun specifically, but, like, I love biking through early game rounds in Pokemon. It makes you feel so powerful, man. Just, like, blitzing through routes that took, like, I don't know, like, 10 minutes when you first come through them. It just feels so nice. Even if this movement is, not the greatest, but, you know, eh? Now, another double battle coming up. You can't skip this one if, your Pokemon's in, and that's actually why we keep Togepi. To make sure we battle these guys as a double battle instead of, like, 2 single battles. Because, you know, you have Surf, so doing a double battle is, like, way faster. Even if you didn't have Surf, I think doing the double battle might be faster. But yeah, sorry Togepi, you served your purpose. Now you might be wondering, wait a minute, don't we need Togepi alive for the next double battle? But we got a trick up our sleeve. The trickiest trick of all time. But yeah, you just spam surf, you know. Just like a lot of run. Oh, and Gen 4, you actually can't, like, click the empty tile, or not, no, the empty square to, like, make the move go off. I think it'll make you, like, it'll force you to select the one with the Pokemon in it. You can't just, you know, select the empty square and it'll, like, automatically go to the Pokemon. I'm pretty sure in Gen 5 you can, like, select the empty square. Actually, I know you can. But yeah, you're gonna see how we skip the double battle here. You literally just surf around it, which obviously makes sense, because you need to surf to, you know, get to the cave. Then slow down the bike. Should have reset, but, you know. It just looks weird, because, like, it really doesn't look like you should surf, right? Like, I'm not going crazy. Like, it look like the cliffs look way too steep. Like, how am I getting there? But yeah, this is actually the play we're gonna use the X speed for, because once again, Mars is gonna fake us out, so, you know, we might as well do something while she fakes us out. You know, same logic as super potioning in the first Mars fight. You know, as you can see, the levels are starting to catch up, you know, 38, 46. You know, that's kind of what, you know, skipping trainers do. And actually, I guess I kind of didn't mention it, but we just skipped Lane. Now, there is another route in this game where you don't do that. It's like a fly route, and instead of using Abra's teleport, you use fly. And, you know, fly has a bunch of advantages, you know. You can, you know, fly directly to a Pokemon Center. You don't need to, like, bike off into the route. Starly, I think on average is probably easier to catch. Honestly, I don't know all of, like, why fly and teleport are so close, but, you know, it's something like that. And hey, another gold. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why this was the gold, but, you know, I guess I'll take it. I guess it was probably the PC heal being fast, is my best guess. And we're actually not gonna teleport, because we're gonna go straight to Candelave through here. Did I, like, slow down the bike because I thought I was in the... Okay, nope. We're gonna repel immediately here and not, like, repel next to the grass, because we're actually gonna try setting something up. Wait, actually. No, actually, never mind. It doesn't really matter where you repel. Actually, it makes sense to repel there, because you want to repel at a standstill. Well, when you're already at a standstill, because if you repelled... If you, like, went to the grass and then repelled, you would be at a standstill and then go at a standstill again. But yeah, you want to make sure not to waste any steps in this movement, because if you do, you're gonna get the repel text box right where the spinner is. And the reason I know that is because Worcester did it in his record. Well, I probably did it at some point. We're gonna get this rare candy, and we're gonna do a run the bike. Wow, it's almost like this is Gen 3, but honestly, we can't do this. We only can do this because, like, we know what part of the cycle he's in, just like the run the walk earlier. That bike was a bit slow, wasn't it? Yeah, that probably was not safe, wasn't it? Was it? Well, you know what's better than being safe? Being lucky, so we'll take it. But yeah, this is where Surf PP can get all kinds of messed up. And that's this upcoming rival battle against Barry, because he backed up his words. He is going to use Double Team, and he's going to dodge every move and land every hit. Actually, I wonder if he uses Aerial Ace. Dude, that'd be really cool if he used Aerial Ace. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention, during the fog route, Golduck has Cloud 9, so that's why nothing ever, like, missed. In Cloud 9, basically, it ignores weather effects. Wait a minute, I just realized. You have Cloud 9. You probably should X Special on Rapidash, because you can ignore if it uses Sunny Day. That's for a fight later on. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. Did I miss any surfs? Okay, well, yeah, we missed one surf. But That's completely manageable. And it's actually, like, pretty easy. So there's 2 fights in Byron's gym where you use Surf. There's one person with a Scizor, and then there's another person with 3 Bronzor. So, to make up Surf PP, you have to use Water Pulse on those fights instead. Which obviously, you know, loses time because Water Pulse... For Scizor, it's a range to kill, and for Bronzor, one of the Bronzor is like a 1 out of 16 to die, so it's usually like a 4-turn fight instead of a 3-turn. But I didn't know, like, 2 of the Bronzor were guaranteed to die to, like, unboosted Water Pulse, so I would always X Special on the Bronzor Changer. Even though you're not supposed to do that at all. Oh, cool, useless crit. So yeah, none of the berries Pokemon are really that big of a problem. Even the Roserade with its, like, high special bulk, you know. But we do put Empoleon into Torrent, so, you know, that Bubble Beam... not really that nasty. I was trying to hype you up, Empoleon. I'm sorry, I was gonna hype you up. But even with Torrent, you're no match for Golduck. I'm sorry. But yeah, since we missed 1 Surf, we need 2 Surfs exiting the gym for a trainer with a Tropius coming up in the route towards Snow Point. Now, something I really didn't consider is that when you use Water Pulse on that Scizor, Scizor has Swarm. So I'm actually gonna get jump scared by how much damage Scizor is gonna do to me. I, like, didn't realize it could do this much damage to me. Now, there is an argument to be made that I should have Water Pulsed the, Bronzor trainer. Because it loses the same amount of turns, but Bronzor, it has Confuse Ray, which can be, you know, lose you a lot more than 1 turn. And also, Surf is less text than Water Pulse, so, you know, saving extra Surfs, you know... While it's nice because Tropius isn't guaranteed to die to 2 Surfs, you know, if it just dies to 2 Surfs anyway, you kind of, like, lost time for no reason. Oh yeah, I don't know if I've been mentioning this at all, but... for the most part, you want to talk to trainers, because it's just faster. Yeah, sorry, there's been, like, a lot of points where I'm like, oh, by the way, something that I've been doing for the past hour, I'm gonna explain it right now. I don't know, man, this commentary stuff is hard. Especially when Obius is trying to cook me. Oh, I actually got a confusion, that could've been hype. But yeah, I did not realize that yeah, because Scizor has Swarm, which is like the starter abilities. You know, when a bug type is under 1/3 health, it gets boosted by 50%, you know? X-Scissor boosted by 50% coming from Scizor? Oh boy, that's kinda scary. But you know, hey, we work it out, And now, in the later part of the run, you're kinda seeing the power of Water Pulse, because we just don't have enough Surfs to get through everything. We just simply don't. So we're gonna have to Water Pulse everything we can Water Pulse, and you see this a lot in the gym, including Byron himself, which is kinda sad, bro. Like, come on, you're using Steel types and you're going out to a Water Pulsing Golduck. I don't care if it's like almost level 50. You gotta do better than that, man. Like, why doesn't this guy have a Magnezone? That's stuff from him. But honestly, it kinda makes sense, because Steel types are powerful because you can, like, switch them in. If you have, like, only Steel types, you're kinda, like, boned. Yeah, basically, when we see a Magnemite, we're gonna Water Pulse it. When we see a Magneton, we're gonna Water Pulse it. When we see a Steelix, it's getting Water Pulsed. Because, like I said, we need 2 Surfs, and then after that, it's 0 Surfs. So, you know, PP is pretty, like, meticulously planned for this run, which honestly makes sense, because, you know, when you're only using, you know, 2 moves, you know, you gotta stretch everything as much as it can be stretched. But you do have plenty of spare Water Pulses. So hitting optionals in this part of the run is actually not that bad. That's hitting them, like, earlier on. Alright, we see some interesting movement there. You know, I run here so the trainer doesn't walk to me. My running is faster than her walking. Oh yeah, and this is the Bronzor trainer. So if we didn't have enough surfs, I would spam water pulse here, but we do, so I spam surf instead. Which is nice, because, you know, surf, only 4 text, and water pulse, what is that, quick math? 11. Oh my god, no, it's 10. I thought pulse was like 6, you know, letters. Oh my god. I gotta delete this. Start the commentary all over again, man. Okay, nice crit. Just kidding, it didn't matter. But yeah, once again, these things have Confuse Ray, so, you know... I don't know if I ever got Confuse Ray by them, because they also have Extra Sensory, which doesn't do much damage. You know, they're Bronzor, they're not that scary. They also have, like, Imprison... I think? Yeah, Imprison. Alright, now it's time for Byron. You know, just like the other gym leaders that faced Golduck, he's going out sad. Yeah, a lot of the scariest trainers are not the gym leaders. Like, we don't even need an X special against this guy. Kinda sad. But yeah, it's just 3 water pulses. And once again, this is kind of the way no Choice Specs does. It just really makes you powerful, man. Now, coming up in the next split, the Cannon Split, that's like probably like my second biggest time save. I'm not like too sure. Wait. Did I really hit one out from this one, or did I hit something in Victory Road? Oh no, I did something way worse. But yeah, we're not learning Amnesia. This is not Gen 1. Yeah, we lose time because of the slow berry fight and because of, you know, having to 2-shot Scizor. Unfortunately, you know, we're still a minute ahead, but once again, you kind of see the difference here. 11:38 best, 12:44 PB, so, you know. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna admit something. I have taken the wrong way out of this gym, because I'm like, ooh, red one, that's how I get out of the gym. And it's like, no, bro, you just came up that. So yeah, I have lost time to, like, exiting the gym. Like, going, like, back the way I came. Now, this movement is actually, like, movement I, like, only practice, like, you know, later on. Because, you know, it's not, like, that important. But I used to, like, go around the houses, but, you know, you can actually just sneak through that crack there. One time I did that, like, accidentally, and I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I just do this on purpose? But, you know, we go to Iron Island, and, we don't actually like Riley that much. We just want his strength HM. We're kind of fake friends, unfortunately. But hey, could you tell I practiced the movement here? Please say yes. But yeah, we get strength, and in the previous run, actually, I think in my PB, I taught strength to the wrong Pokemon. We don't do it here, but I actually taught strength to Monferno, and you need strength for one fight. But that one fight, kind of important. But yeah, we're gonna go up Cycling Road, and I have quite a bit of history with Cycling Road, and the history is, I am horrible at it. And, you know, after a couple times of, like, failing the movement over and over again, you know, it kind of builds on itself. It's like, I get more nervous on Cycling Road, so I do stupider stuff on Cycling Road, but it's actually not that hard. That trainer on the very far left facing up has, like, a vision range of, like, 1 or something, like... Like, the movement's not that hard, but I don't know, like... Something about Cycling Road, like, there's, like, so many trainers, you go fast. And this is the tweak I only recently started doing. What happened to the video there? Oh, never mind. I thought I dropped frames or something. But yeah, that guy's a spinner. You don't need the tweak to get past him, but it lets you skip the spinner pass. And I actually didn't know this tweak existed for the longest time. I only saw it while, like, watching Dexy's run of Platinum 80%. Yeah, it's kind of why it's important to watch, like, multiple runners. And you can actually see, I taught Strength in a different place than I usually teach it. Usually, I teach it over Psych Up, but that time I taught it in the 3rd slot, and that's gonna come up later. Now, here I Hyper Potion. And here's the thing, like, I actually could have Energy Powdered. Well, I need to heal at least a little. Because, you know, I died to one magically from Tropius. So yeah, I needed the heal, but I actually could have Energy Powder there instead, because you take a heal after the Tropius fight anyway. I guess the idea is if I miss the range, I could, like, struggle and take out the Tropius. But, like, if that happens, I could just heal in the fight, so I probably should have Energy Powder there instead. Oh, actually, no, Energy Powdering, I would have just died to 2 Magical Leaves, never mind, so... You know what, I'm on good pace, I support Hyper Potioning, and actually, after all... I changed my mind. That's not illegal. But here comes the Snow Route. Actually, like, pretty cool movement. Well, not cool, but... You know, there actually is, like, some reasoning behind it. I did, you know, like, mess up, like, the movement coming out of the lodge, though, even though, like, I practiced it a bunch. But I was, like, too scared after hitting the trainer once. But here's actually a kind of scary fight. Not at full health, but kind of scary. This Tropius is 92% to die to 2 Surfs. Oh yeah, and Hail doesn't do any damage. Oh, it crits me? So yeah, I guess good thing I Hyper Potions. Actually, no, I would have lived on 1 if I didn't. But yeah, because of Cloud9, we don't take Hail damage, which is actually kind of bad for us. Yeah, I run up the stairs because you don't get slowed down when you're on the stairs, so might as well run up there. Okay, here I take things pretty slow, so I heal once again, Surf PP all the way back up to 18, Water Pulse PP refilled. I go straight left, and what I actually could have done is when you go straight left, you go into slower snow tiles, you get like slowed down more. You can actually go left and go up 1 tile, and then go left, and it's way faster. But the thing is, if you go too high up, you'll go into the spinner's range, and then he'll see you because you're running. But yeah, you can't use the bike on this route, obviously, and you get, like, a slowdown. I am holding B the entire time. This is as fast as you go if you haven't played this game before. But yeah, immediately using the, renew the PP we got. So yeah, I guess this is another time where Cloud9 saves time, because there's no Hail text boxes or damage. So the fight's, you know, a bit faster. And there's 3 fights you do in this route, so, you know. It's like, what, 4 turns? So it's like 8 turns in total, where, like, you would get Hail, but you don't, since of Cloud9. Now we're actually gonna trail off to the right to get a rare candy. And the visual cue I use is once I pass the second Pokeball, that's how I know to start going to the right. Because if you go to the right too early, there's like a ninja class trainer who will like pop out from a Pokeball and attack you. Ask me how I know that happens. But yeah, the movement here is actually a little... you're gonna see me run here for 1 tile. And on 1 run, I think in my PB, that's what I didn't do. I wasn't holding B because I'm like, oh, you don't run. And I hit this trainer, the person who just passed us. And then I think I also faced this guy, or that was a different run. But basically, if you don't do the movement there correctly, it's kind of like, okay, I have no idea if I'm going to hit those trainers or not. But hey, we passed them successfully. That's the last fight in this route. And we're actually getting ready to use all the rare candies we've collected so far. And that's 5 rare candies, and we're gonna all dump them in. And that actually does get us to 56, which is when Golduck learns Hydro Pump. We don't learn that, because we just simply don't need it. I think Tentacruel uses Hydro Pump, like, in its first few fights, but it, like, teaches over it pretty quickly. But yeah, when you're really, when you're this high level, you kind of have the privilege of not having to use, low accuracy moves. But yeah, that Seeking actually has Poison Jab, so that's like one of the many Pokemon that can status you. And you have like 5 status healing items throughout this run, so things can get a little ugly if, things go bad, because there's a couple mons that can confuse you early on. Yeah, a lot of the stats actually happens early on now that I think about it. So maybe I should have pointed it out earlier on, so my bad. But honestly, you might have to use antidotes early on in the run, which I did. Oh, that's why I bought the Paralyzed Heal, because I had to use the antidote in the Galactic Double and Jubilife. I was like, okay, I need some more healing items. Which I think, yeah, it's smart. You have extra money. Like, yeah, it's like 10 seconds or something to buy it, but I probably should have made it a full heal, but whatever. But yeah, when you run through the grass, you don't get, slowed down, so you want to hug the grass. And also, going through the top is faster than going through the bottom. Alright, but it's time for Snow Point City. There's no mandatory gym trainer, so you just go straight to the gym leader. I think I actually messed up the puzzle a bit, or I don't know, I took it slow. But since you're on ice, you can actually buffer your movement way ahead of time, so... sometimes that can get a bit dicey if you, do it a bit too soon. But it actually makes things, pretty easy here to do optimal movement. And yep, that's the entire puzzle. Yeah, now it's time to fight Candace. And once again, Cloud9 coming in clutch. We don't care, Abomasnow. Your hail? Not happening. So, pretty simple fight. Once again, we're gonna set up on a Sneasel that has high crit slash. But, it's Sneasel at this point in the game. Get a Weavile, bro. It's not scary. Even if it crits, it's what? 40 damage? And it doesn't even use Slash here. But we do have to set up 2 X specials, which I think this is the first fight in the game where you have to use 2 of them, so props to Candace. More like props to Abomasnow, but hey, we gotta give up props where we can give them. And yeah, since we ignore Cloud9, that also means we ignore weather abilities, so that means we do not care about Frostlass's Snow Veil. Because we have Cloud9, we just ignore it. So not only do we ignore hail damage, we ignore the weather abilities, which is very nice. Because yeah, if we had to worry about Snow Veil, that makes the Surf PP issue a bit more trickier, doesn't it? But we don't, because Golduck is the GOAT. That's why I call him Goat Duck. I don't really call him that. I don't know, that's why it was a funny split name. The reason I actually made that the split name is because, I think a couple of the other runners, and I saw it from, Skoa mainly, is, for, the split where they catch Tentacruel, they would call it, God and Goddess, I kind of wanted to take some inspiration from that, but, put a little spin on it. So I called it Goat Duck instead of God Duck. But yeah, once again, another gold. Did I get my gold below 240? I don't think I did. Yeah, I got it pretty low, which is pretty cool. I probably could have kept running this game, but I don't know, I thought it was time, so, yeah. I actually didn't know to do that, to, go down the ice. I would always just run down the stairs, which is quite a bit slower. I think this is literally the only run where I knew to do that. So, whoops. Gotta pay more attention, when watching the world record to see what they do. My bad. Is that the last teleport we do? Yeah, that's the last teleport we do in the run, so, I think Thank you for your service, Abra. And, oh, this is where I do the spinner sub. Oh, I messed it up. You're actually supposed to go through the top staircase before you, slow down. So even if I menued in the right place, it still wouldn't have been safe. But yeah, I almost did it. Oh yeah, I guess those two spinners you also see 3 times in the run, so if you hit these guys, it's not too bad, because you can just bike right past them. But obviously, you know, it's still faster to not hit them at all than to, like, face them at all. Even if you hit them, like, on the first go-around. But yeah, we're actually going through this way, because we're gonna pick up a rare candy. Yeah, one run, like, very early on, I actually went through, I still, like, went through the way through Solaceon, and I activated the double battle before I realized I went the wrong way. Kind of funny. But yeah, this is a pretty simple tweak. As you can kind of notice, some of the tweaks, they're kind of the same thing. Or, like, a decent bit of them. Yeah, another thing I picked up very late, you can just surf to avoid the second spinner pass, but that makes this rotator very scary. And the reason why I played it safe there, oops, you're supposed to go through this lane, not the one I went through, is because I didn't slow down the bike before I went surfing, so I didn't know if I would make it in time. Kinda forgot to get on the bike, whoops. But yeah, you also go for there to avoid the double battle, so yeah, whoops. Oh yeah, the tweak, it deloads the trainers. I should be explaining that more, like what the tweak does. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's kind of not, so my bad. Mess up the spinner sub again, so I just have to do it regularly. And this guy, he turns around if you go too slow, so that's why I went up, you know, sooner than I usually do. And this guy heals you if you talk to him, so we're gonna do that. Let the heal PP without, you know, changing where his center's at, which is pretty nice. And these are the last tweaks in the run, but they're also some of the hardest. The first one is not too bad. It took a while to, you know, get to this place to repel. Yeah. But yeah, that one, you know, pretty standard. You go right, down, then left, right. There is an optional tweak you can do, actually. I'm gonna pause it, actually, first time in... It's pretty risky, though. If you go up against this guy, and you go, let's say, what is it, like, down, right, up, down, you'll deload the Rock Smash rock coming up, but there's a couple problems with that. First off, you know, if you hit the trainer, you know, it's really bad. He has, like, 3 Pokemon. And second off, if you mess it up, it's, like, 1 try only. You can't go right and then, like, reload the route, because, you know, the guy's gonna block you, and obviously reloading the route will just be slower. This is only to, like, deload a Rock Smash rock. And also, it deloads the trainers, which can make, you know, finding where you're supposed to go a bit trickier, but you can just use the rock. But yeah, I figured I'd mention that. You can go for it, but I decided not to. But yeah, this is definitely one of the trickier ones. I don't know, something about doing, like, right, left, right just makes it way harder. Or, like, going up, right. Like, it's, like, still, like, pretty simple in terms of movement. It's not like the Solaceon one, where, like, you have to, like, delay going down. Oh yeah, if you don't do this cutscene, it crashes the game or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, and this is actually a different tweak than what they used to do. You used to like still go through the void, but like you would like go into Sunny Shore, and then you would like tweak on the water, which kind of sucks. That's like not on the run anymore, because you know, doing a tweak, you know, in the water, that's like kind of swag. But yeah, the repel wore out, and there's actually a patch of grass right behind that sailor, so if you mess up the movement, you could get an encounter, and you have to like go back to the beach to redo the tweak. Also, if you go in that house, I think you crash the game. Or no, you like reload Flint or something. So like he'll like be blocking like the gem. And that always kind of like scares me. But I don't think I ever done it in a run, only in practice. The overall tweaking was pretty solid in the run, so like, I'd say it's definitely like pretty fun tweaking. You know, adds like a pretty nice variable. It's kind of like mod biking in Gen 3, you know, adds, you know, some execution stuff to the game. Actually, messed up part about this gym, though, there are 2 spinners in the gym. So yeah, there's actually like 3 spinners left in the entire run. But one of the spinners you have to pass 3 times, so pretty spooky. But yeah, once again, you're kind of seeing the power of water pulse being able to save Surf PP for the things we need it for. But there's like a decent amount of things you can't go with water pulse. Electabuzz is too bulky. Raichu is too bulky, I believe. And yeah, obviously Volkner is too bulky. But yeah, the spinner is actually right after this trainer, and there's a spinner set up. But the thing about this one is it's a little awkward. I'll show you why after this battle. Yeah, just gonna skip this battle. Sorry, just water pulsing. But yeah, like the first down input, you have to hold way longer. And yeah, I just turn frame there. Because if you like go down too fast, you know, when starting the run, it's like way less time. Oh yeah, and because the spinners are indoors, you have to go back to doing like the spinner, you know, not on the bike. So, you know, after not doing it for like, you know, an hour and a half. So, you know, that's kind of a bit trippy, you know. Doing like the turn frames after not doing them for like an hour. But yeah, as long as you click the right move, which I would never mess up. I have never once clicked Water Pulse on this trainer and lost like a good amount of time on it. I swear on it. Yeah, none of these trainers are afraid. You just one-shot them. But yeah, once again, this is the start of another section where Surf PP has to be managed very well. Because you only have so many spares. Now the thing is, some of the trainers in Victory Road have pressure, so I think I have more surfs than I think. You might have like 1 or 2 spare surfs. Now the first spinner in this gym, he has 4 Pikachu, so you can just water pulse those guys. But the other spinner, he has a Raichu. And it's 9 out of 16 to die to water pulse, or you can go for the guaranteed one-shot with Surf. But there's also like some ranges in Victory Road where like Surf's not guaranteed to kill everything, so you know, you can't just risk that either. You know, pretty fun gym puzzle. I like the noises it makes. But to be honest, it's kind of basic. You kind of just like go for the button until it like lines up, or you can like continue. Man, I guess this is a kid's game, so what am I to say? But yeah, we're gonna have to pass the spinner 2 more times, and this is the guy with the Raichu. Actually, I wonder, do I get a level up off this? Because then it's probably like more likely for Water Pulse to take him out. Oh yeah, you do. But I guess I should put that in the notes, huh? Oh, good thing I'm doing this commentary. Let's see, how much special attack do you gain? I think that's it for, I don't know. I can't read that fast, man. Yeah, this one that doesn't have a setup, but we run to force him to look left. I mean, look up. Whoops, I don't know why I said left. The next one is a setup, but I think I might have messed it up. But no, I did it correct. Oh, but I didn't know I did it correct, so I didn't go for it. For the setup, you just have to walk down twice after hitting the button, and then pull up the menu. So I actually could have passed them. Whoops. Yeah, there's one more spinner coming up throughout the entire run, and it's like on the water route to the Leaf War. Or Victory Road, whoops. I guess they're both kind of true, but whatever. Now Volkner, he uses electric types. This guy's gotta be scary, right? Unfortunately for him, we don't even have to X special. This guy's garbage. I'm not really sure how this reignites his passion for battling, but I guess if I got swept by a Golduck when my whole thing is I use electric types, I would go, you know, back to battling. You can't go out like this, man. Yeah, it really just is 4 serves. Man, what a good music in this game, man. And that's kind of why I didn't get too mad, you know, being stuck in the early game a lot for my streams when I didn't run to this, because, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to get mad when I'm just listening to good music. But I don't know, it was kind of weird, you know, when doing runs to this, like, I wouldn't get too annoyed, you know, being stuck in early game. I would just be like, huh, well, that stream sucked. Guess I'm ending stream, guys, lol. Like, it did feel like a waste of time, but I don't know. Alright, we lost 2 seconds there. Should reset the run. But yeah, this is like my last major time save, which is the Berry Split. Which is mainly, you know, like Victory Road. Now, one of my main time losses in this split was because I taught Strength to Monferno in my PB instead of Golduck. And the trainer coming up, you're supposed to use Strength on. It's the only one. So I had to, like, X special and use Surfs. And, like, it didn't even, like, one-shot the Mantine. So it was like a 5-turn fight I turned it into. But, unfortunately, even though I still have Strength, it's in the right spot. This repel just sets up a repel for a nice spot later on. So I do it now instead of, you know, doing that when I get near the route. I'm not entirely sure why you do it there, to be honest, but, you know, I kind of just copy. But yeah, this was another route I, like, took a while to practice, but then, like, wait, I'm kind of bad at this, I should practice it, so then I did. Yeah, awesome commentary by me. But yeah, Jasmine, she's gonna give us Waterfall, which is gonna be the last move we teach the Golduck. And we are gonna use Waterfall, and you're gonna find out pretty quickly why we teach Waterfall, because there's a menace waiting in Victory Road for us. Had the bike theme in this game is so good. But yeah, this is probably my worst mistake in the run. And you're gonna see it. This is why you always teach moves in the right slot, in the same spot, not the right slot. Well, I guess it is spot, they both work, but I was confusing myself, and I click Psych Up because I usually teach Strength in the bottom right slot, and because I'm Choice Specs, I have to switch. Man. Okay, let me replay that. Looks like OBS decided it didn't want to do anything. But yeah, I taught, use Psych Up, man. Real tough luck. So yeah, now I have to switch back in, Bugbeat. Basically, the Pokemon are alive for this section, because, you know, you did the hotel heal. You know, if they weren't alive, it'd be pretty bad, but, you know, it's not the worst. But yeah, this is the one fight you use Strength for. You know, Strength. Now, Surf also, you know, two-shots these guys. Oh, and that's also the problem. Because I used Surf on this fight, I had to, like, Elixir early, and then I had to, like, do a weird PC heal before I fought Barry. So yeah, I still saved time on the split, but yeah, I kind of like donated time save. And then this Mantine's kind of a menace. That's not a one-shot, and it has some annoying moves. As Confuse Ray, I think risking it there is fine, and then it bounces. this would... Actually, no, I think it's the right play. You're not doing anything anyway. I don't have too much status to worry about. And I have the paralyzed heal. I think that was the right play, healing the confusion. Like, what are you saving it for at that point? Yeah, I got paralyzed by a bounce there. I'm pretty sure Mantine would bounce bend me. Yeah, this Mantine can be pretty bad, man. And so first off, I waste 2 turns clicking Psych Up, and then I lose like another 3 turns due to bad RNG. So really bad fight there. Slow movement, once again, nerfs get... The movement's honestly not as bad as I remember it being. I guess in the moment, it feels way worse. Oh yeah, now I have the heal, which I usually don't have to. Yeah, once again, like I said, we're teaching Waterfall here. Over Psych Up. Usually it would be over Screech, but when I was streaming, I was just telling myself over and over again, Waterfall, bottom right, Waterfall, bottom right, because, you know, obviously, Waterfall is usually where Strength is. Thankfully, you only have to use it once in a run. And then, Monferno the Goat learns another HM. Would it be a Pokemon speedrun if I didn't get my starter free HM moves? No, I really wouldn't be. Now, I actually didn't slow the bike down earlier, and that was on purpose, because for this spinner step to work out, you also can't, you know, slow it on the bike. I think I did the movement too slow for that to be safe anyway, but, you know, it's the thought that counts. But here's Victory Road. Oh yeah, here's where things get bad with the movement, because it's, like, pretty tricky to not bonk and stuff. You know, slowing down and speeding back up for all the strength rocks. There's, like, some optionals and well, there's, like, one optional in that scary spot. Yeah, bonking there means it takes longer to turn, so actually, what I should have done there is I should have slowed down and then turn framed, instead of trying to do it all in one motion. Yeah, this is where Waterfall gets its use. Pretty immediate after it gets use, which is so kinda nice. Now, once again, we're gonna have to switch, because, you know, we don't want to be locked into Waterfall. You know, Gen 4 moment, haha, let's get our easy clicks in. But, you know, it is kind of annoying how slow the HP bar moves in this game. It does make you, you know, appreciate some of the other generations with the faster, you know, battle systems like Gen 3, Gen 6, Gen 5. You know, at least Platinum, it does not fix it, so. Now, I'm used to switching to Togepi for this fight, so, you know, I think I was a bit slow switching to Abra there. I think I almost switched to Monferno. Monferno probably would have died anyway. But yeah, you can see I'm kind of messed up. Oh my god. Alright, actually, let me show it. Because OBS didn't want to show it, I guess. I gotta pay more attention to that, man. Oops. Yeah, we're gonna die here and focus on the bottom screen. Okay. Well, wait, no, I thought it was frozen. So yeah, I was hoping over Monferno for a bit. So you know that, now I have 2 Pokemon dead, so that kind of messes me up for, like, where things are. You don't have to do it for the rest of the Victory Road, so it doesn't really matter. You know, it's kind of something to consider. Well, actually, no, it isn't. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, Glalie with a Surf. And this is, like, the last, but, you know, you also do it for the Elite Four. But, you know, the Elite Four, you can't hit optionals, so, you know, it's not that scary. It could win the fast gear there, but it's not that bad. But yeah, this is where things get pretty awkward with the movement. Because you want to, like, slow down and, like, speed up a bunch because of, like, all the strength rocks and rock smash rocks. Repelling. Went to the wrong rock. And this is the guy you want to be scared of. Coming up, because you have 1 tile to, like, not be in his vision. It's pretty sneaky what the devs did. Yeah, 1 final rare candy for the road. Yeah, in earlier runs, I actually didn't know how to complete this puzzle. Or, like, I think, like, I don't know, during practice, I forgot how to do it. But yeah, once again, we're gonna see Waterfall's putting in its work. But we cannot surf everything. So we gotta find the things we can water pulse. And strength and waterfall are just, you know, not gonna do it, man. You know, a team full of, you know, pretty, you know, like, not that bulky, water-weak Pokemon and a Motham, yeah, that's a perfect spot to use water pulse. I'm kind of drying on my mouth with, the cough drops. Or maybe I'm just talking so much, I don't know. But yeah, the movement... Oh, actually, no. It's after the next trainer where the movement gets a bit spooky. But yeah, you actually want to be in the slow gear for the Strength Rocks. Because if you're in the fast gear, because you're... I don't know why I went in the fast gear for that. I probably should have stayed in the slow gear. But, you know, when you know, push a Strength Rock, you know, it forces you... it kills all your momentum. And also, it's just like... The movement's just kind of tricky, you know? It's not like a lot of wide passages. Yeah. Here's Clefable, you know. Competitive Pokemon terrorist. But, you know, Clefable's pretty cute, so I'll let it do its job, man. But when I did use this Phoenix Draft League, it was kind of garbage, I'm not gonna lie, but it's probably my fault. I can never build defensive cores in Draft League, man. Anyway, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about this Torterra that dies to Surf. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool you see, like, all 3 starters just used by, like, regular trainers. Well, I guess, you know, Infernape's used by, you know, Elite 4 members, so maybe not regular. But yeah, actually, for this movement coming up, I used to go, like, down, and then I went here. It took me a while to realize I could just, like, go up and then through here. So that made things quite a bit easier. But yeah, you can see I take it very slow, because if you go 1 tile too far, it's over. But yeah, also the rock climb. So yeah, there's just like a lot of moments where you like go to like where you're like standing still. Yeah, once again, this movement is not as bad as I remember it being. Or maybe just watching it makes it seem less bad, like, I don't know. Like, you can kind of see in best possible time, like, the best possible time is, like, 2:43:03. So I was like, okay, like, if I get light screen on Lucian, can I still get a 2:43? Like, that's kind of, like, maybe why I was panicking. Or maybe I wanted, like, a 2:42, because, like, this is a split where, like, I thought I could, like, gold it pretty easily. I never did end up getting the Bear Gold in 1755, though. Okay, this fight's gonna take the last of our Surfs. So that means we're gonna have to use the Max Ether we just got. Actually, wait, no, we didn't just get it. We got it, like, a long time ago. Never mind, I'm a liar. But yeah, his Absol and Dusknoir actually have pressure here. So yeah, you actually have 0 spare Surfs for this section now that I think about it. Absol with the Uwu. I learned that, so now you have to learn it. But yeah, since we have to Max Ether, we're gonna combine the menu. In the same menu, we're gonna Repel, we're gonna Max Ether, and we're gonna use rare candies in the Carbos I got. Oh yeah, the Carbos I got during the Sunny Shorts week. I should have pointed it out. But the Carbos is so I can outspeed Lucian's Alakazam, and that thing has Energy Ball, so that's something you definitely want to outspeed. Yeah, I didn't take too much damage, so I don't have to heal here. The reason why you might want to heal is there's a Tangrowth coming up. And that thing has Power Whip, which does quite a bit of damage. So, you know, you might want to heal out of the Power Whip range, but, like, I haven't been taking any damage at all. Yep, that's why you teach Waterfall, because this game requires you to use 9 million HMs. Very cool, Game Freak. Kinda glad they changed that in future gens, man. Because Like, I played, like, Crystal Legacy, and even though, you know, you can teach over HMs, it's, like, pretty annoying. Because, like, I have to, like, always, like, fly back to, like, the move reminder to, like, get back to the moves I actually want. And then, like, I didn't have a Pokemon that could use Fly. Oh, yeah, there's another Pokemon that can status you, Dragon Breath. Like, you don't really notice it, but there's, like, 5 million fights that can status you. Okay, I kind of overstated that. But Surf Count for this part is actually not that scary. I think you have quite a few, like, spares for the berry fight. Actually, do you? I'm not too sure now that I said that. But there's one last hidden item we're gonna pick up here. Nice one. I didn't mean to drive past it, but it looks kind of cool. I don't know why I sped up there. That was pretty bad. But yeah, this is the guy with the Tangrowth. Yeah, this is probably like the last scary route trainer for Golduck. It's a 14 out of 16 to faint, well, to one-shot the Tangrowth. And then Power Whip does 98 to 114. So pretty spooky, pretty spooky. Porygon Z, obviously that thing's frail, so you know, that thing goes down in one shot. But here comes the Behemoth. I think I missed this range once. Yep, there you go, I hit it. I guess Power Whip can also miss, so it's not like that spooky, but I don't know, I kind of hyped this thing up in my head, because I think I like saw someone lose a run to him, like, oh my god, this thing's crazy scary. But like, not really. And Polyon's not one shot, but it's not really doing anything back, which is also why it's kind of fine to like only use water moves. Like, yeah, you can't really, you know, one shot water types, but like, are water types really gonna do that much to you? Also, you know, the water gym's very early on. So, you know, that's when like your level advantage is like pretty huge. Yeah, that's like another reason you can kind of like get away with this like, you know, monochromic moveset, man. Yeah, last route trainer of the game. It's only Barry and the Elite Foreign Champion after this. Yeah, I'm like very proud of myself for like only hitting one optional, cause like I have never had, like, a run that's, like, really long that hits no optionals. Okay, OBS crapped out, but you literally missed nothing. You just surfed the 2 Pokemon. It was like a Swablu and Gibble. But yeah, like, I've never had, like, a... Well, actually, that's not true. Diamond any percent, I didn't hit any, you know, optionals. But, you know, that runs, like, 1 hour, so it doesn't really count. But, you know, White 2, I hit an optional. Black, I hit optionals. Evan, this game, I had an optional, but... There were, like, so many runs where I hit, like, a bunch of optionals, man. It's, like, kind of embarrassing. Like, I would hit, like, so many of them. Like, I would, like, get on a run, like, first try Golduck, first try Rourke, and then I would immediately choke it away. But, like, you know... To be able to take advantage of, like, the time save and, like, actually capitalize on this pretty nice. So yeah, this Raptor here, it has U-turn, or it can use, like, close combat or takedown. We want it to use, we don't want it to U-turn, because if it U-turns, Barry's gonna U-turn into Roserade. And Roserade is a 15 out of 16 to die, but with 2 X specials, it always gets one shot. Now, unfortunately, he did use U-turn. But it's a 15 out of 16, so you know we hit that. And then the rest of the fight's free. Now, you're actually supposed to X-Special on Rapidash, but, like, I think one fight, I got Sunny Day. But I kind of forgot about Cloud9, so I set up more than I needed to. Well, I swear, like, I was doing less damage. Because, yeah, you don't want... Because switching slow there, you know, U-turn. So, like, if I took it out and set up on Rapidash, it would have been a bit less slow. But again, this thing also has Will-O-Wisp, so I don't know. Maybe it is right to, like, do the X special again on Staraptor. I'm not too sure. Yeah, everything dies to Surf. Well, except Empoleon. Even Snorlax coming up, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, that thing really just gets one shot. Bro fell off. Here comes Heracross. And it's ready to die. Alright, so you have one spare Surf. Two if you hit this Empoleon range, which is 8 out of 16 to one-shot Empoleon here. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit it, but I don't remember. Let's see. Oh, I did hit it. Guess my memory's bad. Dude, that's actually huge. I probably don't get the free 53 without that. I mean, 253. So yeah, even though I choked a lot of the time save away by, like, psyching up on that Mantine trainer, still able to get a good amount. And right here, you see, best possible time, 2:43:49. So, you know, it's coming down to the wire. So once again, we're gonna heal Golduck by playing it in the PC. I actually mess up here, don't I? Yeah, I should have grabbed Golduck, not grabbed Monferno. That was bad on my part. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Oh, come on, man. Alright, let me give a replay because OBS doesn't want to help. Doesn't want me. Yeah, let me show it here. So yeah, I should have just, you know, grabbed Golduck from the fin again instead of, like, trying to grab Monferno. That was poor play on my part. But yeah, we deposit everyone because we don't want the Hall of Fame animation for, every Pokemon. And this badge check is fake, by the way. We literally do not have Mayling's badge, but he allows us in. Now, the reason we get the other gyms is first, we can't skip them, or B, we need the HM. Because the badges do actually let you use the HM. So, you know, we need Waterfall to get through Victory Road and all that. But yeah, every Elite Four except Bertha has some way to lose/gain time. Now, Aaron is kind of like a... I guess Aaron is actually like the third biggest way to lose time. Everything dies to Surf, except his Vespi Quinn. Wait, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah. It's a 12 out of 16 to die. And it's gonna heal, so it's like, not only do you use more Surfs, but it's gonna heal. And it also has the Fend Order, so you might have to two-shot it once it heals, which is pretty ugly. Now, if it doesn't use the Fend Order when you attack it, you can, like, X-Special when it heals to make sure you don't use an extra Surf. But here, I just hit the range, so the 243, still alive, still alive. And then the rest of the fight, yeah, everything gets one shot. Sorry, Scizor, we're not gonna Water Pulse you, we're just gonna kill you. I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. Looks like OBS is also the one gonna be dying. Yeah, I'm also, like, pretty unfamiliar with the, Elite Four text boxes. Like, I'm kinda, because I had a run get pretty far, like 3 days before I got this run. So, like, I kinda had, like, some idea of what they were like, but, like, not too much. Yeah, because of the bad PC heal, lose a second there. Bertha, you literally just Surf everything. But you know, it's Elite Four. I can't skip Bertha, I'm sorry. I can't do it. Be fucked up to skip an Elite Four member. Probably something else I can talk about, right? Well, I guess, yeah, I don't really need to use an X special here, so I don't use one. Thrilling commentary. Oh yeah, Cloud9 comes in clutch again. Because of Cloud9, no sand damage taken, so that's less time loss. Compared to, Pokemon without Cloud9. Oh yeah, this Gliscor also has Quick Attack, but I've never seen it use Quick Attack. Actually, does it have Quick Attack? Gotta shake the mouse to make sure OBS stays awake. Kind of annoying, but you know what? Okay, I guess. But, it's like 5 ground types, not gonna be too hard for a Golduck, man. I mean, hey, this music's pretty hype. Oh, I guess Sandstream wouldn't even matter because it's the last Pokemon anyway. Never mind, I lied about Cloud9. I'm sorry. I spread misinformation. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, down goes Bertha. Now I have a choice to make right here, right now. One of Flint's Pokemon, Magmortar, is not guaranteed to die to Water Pulse. It's at a 15 out of 16 range. So right now, I could Max Elixir, get all my Surfs back, and be fine for the rest of the Elite Four and Champion. But I don't Max Elixir here, and you might be wondering, why do I do that? And there's a reason for that. By delaying my Max Elixir until after I face Lucian, in the case where I take damage on Lucian, it would be one menu to heal and then use the Max Elixir. But if I Max Elixir'd now, and then had to heal on Lucian, it would be 2 menus. And plus, it's only like 15, it's 15 out of 16 to kill Magmortar, so I think it's like... Like, unless you're desperate for time save and you need, like, the Surf, being faster than Water Pulse time save, and I have done that before. On, like, runs where I'm like 6 seconds behind. But, like, it's pretty much a desperation play. I really don't flash it. No, I literally have lived the scenario where you use, Surf in this fight. I haven't missed the, Water Pulse range. I think I did miss it once in practice, though. There's something to that, but yeah, no, I don't miss it here. Oh yeah, the reason why PB's 219 is... Oh, I think I actually did Max Elixir in my PB. But I think that's because my PP was messed up because I had the PC heal before the berry fight. So I was, like, short on Surfs more than you usually are. So yeah, I didn't do it for, time save. But yeah, now it's time for a pretty spooky fight or the freest fight of all time. Lucian leads with a Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime can do 2 things. It can reflect, and then the fight is for you to spam Surf, or it can light screen, and it can ruin your entire day and lose you 50 seconds. Let's see what happens here. Well, actually, you probably already know. You can look at best possible time. I don't know why I was trying to hype that up. But yeah, you're forced to give Mr. Mime 1 turn. You can't one-shot it with Surf. Oh yeah, I was using I guess I should point this out now. But yeah, I get Reflect. That's like crazy. I went like 4 for 6 on like Reflect on Lucian for like all my runs, which is pretty crazy. Got like very lucky with them. But yeah, Alakazam outspeeds you and will Energy Ball you if you either A, didn't get Pokerush spread immediately, or B, What else am I trying to think? You, like, didn't get the Carbos. But yeah, the final fight now is Cynthia. Now, Cynthia, probably not as hard as, you know, you think it's gonna be from, like, your childhood. Like, it's not, like, that crazy, but Cynthia, she's no pushover, I'm glad to say. Like, she does give, like, a real final effort. We're gonna see why real soon. Real soon. Don't know why I said that twice, but whatever. Yeah, that's our final level up of the run. Level 68. Oh, actually, no, you level up on Cynthia, never mind. Dude, what a good theme, man. But yeah, that's kind of why, like, I stopped pre-running after I got this run, because I kind of knew I'm, like, due for, like, some extremely bad luck, man. But yeah, now we max Elixir because we don't have enough surf for Cynthia. But, like, if I got Light Screen and I took damage, this is where I would heal. But yeah, Cynthia, the reason why she can get pretty scary is her lead Pokemon, Spiritomb, is not a fun Pokemon to set up on at all. Cynthia can use 2 moves against Golduck. Dark Pulse or Shadow Ball. We really don't want Shadow Ball, because if we get some Death Drops, not only does it mean Spiritomb does more damage, but it also means the upcoming Milotic, which we can't one-shot, is going to do more damage. And also, if she just crits us, we die. Yeah, you see when I go in the bag I used last item used, that's obviously, you know, faster than, you know, going specifically to the battle items. So we get Dark Pulse per turn, that's pretty good. We get Dark Pulse again. So yeah, if I get crit here, I would just die. And I think I lost like 1 run like that. But it was a pretty bad run. And there it is, thus with Death Drop. Now, thankfully, Spiritomb got it on the last Shadow Ball, so I only have to worry about my Milotic. And my Milotic still doesn't do that much damage. But it might mean I might have to heal an extra time and I might lose the 243. But there is something I could do to prevent that. Now, my Milotic has Mirror Coat, and if you don't kill my Milotic, it will kill you with Mirror Coat. Dun, 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 dun. So, Milotic, we have to set up more X specials on it because we can't one-shot it without doing that. Yeah. But there is a strategy where instead of going to +5 special attack, you actually go to +4 special attack, and it's a 9 out of 16 to kill Milotic. I think I've done it twice. One time I died for it, and one time it succeeded. Yeah, Guard Jump gets one-shot, went out sad. But yeah, we gotta heal here, it's just gonna kill us. Now, because of the drop, instead of doing, like, 45 damage, my Milotic now does 70 damage. Bit more spooky. We really want to see Mirror Coat, not only because it does no damage, but because it's a really fast move. So it's guaranteed to use Surf there, because I will die to it, but let's see what Milotic does. Because I used the potion, I gotta go back on battle items. There's 1 Mirror Coat. 2 Mirror... Oh, I know. And there's a 2nd Mirror Coat. If she, like, hits me once there, I might not get the 243. But +5, I'm guaranteed to kill. And Lucario, it does have extreme speed, but I don't think it uses it if it's not, like, guaranteed to kill. Nice. But here's the last Mon. And you know what the Golduck does. It surfs it, because that's all it needs, baby. That's all it needs. And that's a GG, man. So, I really hope this video's informational. Hopefully, I explained some things. I really hope I didn't forget anything I wanted to explain. I guess this is time for me to look. Oh, yeah, I guess there's one thing. For the DS, you put it in auto mode for the Manips. If you don't put it in auto mode, I think you literally just don't have enough time to boot the game. Let me, like, go for the notes. Oh, yeah, this is the first game where I had to make my own notes. You know, that was kind of annoying, but, you know, it was also, you know, kind of a learning experience because, you know, that's something I should know how to do anyway. Yeah, I actually released the notes on SRC, so if you want to do this route, you know, you could use my notes. I hope they're good. I hope they're good. I really hope so. Yeah, sorry for, like, some of the cuts that are going to be in this because, you know, OBS decided it actually didn't want to display anything, I guess. So I'm gonna have to keep moving the mouse, though. Sorry for this hover thing. Anything else? I guess I could have explained the net more, but this is my first time doing something like this, you know. Shout out to Gunner Maniac, shout out to Headbob, shout out to Wayne Bro, shout out to, like, anyone else I ever watched the commentated speedruns, because like I said in the beginning, I fucking love watching these things, so if I can, like, transmit, like, 1% of the enjoyment I got from, like, watching other creators do this, I think I've done a good job. So timing's gonna start, like, once the black screen fades on here. And yep. There it goes. You know, right now I'm doing, like, some Sonic 1 runs on my stream, so if you want to check that out. And, right now I'm learning Pokemon Soul Silver Glitchless as my next Pokemon speedrun, so I really hope to have that ready by Monday, Tuesday at the worst. So if you want to check that out, you know, hey, check out the Twitch stream or subscribe to YouTube where I do YouTube streams. And, hey, thank you to anyone who watched this, because, I don't know, man. At the beginning, it was pretty hard to record this. Because, like, I kept getting, like, nervous, like, oh my god, what do I say? But, like, once I got past, like, the first 3 minutes, you know, watching the gameplay just kind of spoke for itself, you know? I don't know. So this was pretty fun. I don't know. I might do it again, man, for, like, my next ones. I don't think I'm gonna do it for my White 2 run. I kind of forget everything. But I might do it. I don't know. It just gets, like, I don't know, 100 likes or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you later, maybe? I don't know. Let me just stop.